The boy used the simplest draw, yet it left the professor stunned. Jit oa peo ax stun shouldn't possess. Lunan appeared to Zion the Leon, but it oa actually 3-strike. He even slowed how the famed stroke. Git so the professor CCT's it oa jit vari at yacht enraged Nibiros. Lunan, however, Ryman expressed profit so do startled me. Nibiros ignored him. Yo swordsman taught do. Lunan oa confused. Oa do talking about no, on taught me. So Nibiros tried a hip for an kuchen, did you zai my move? Emin get no, I did. It oa key impressive. Drawing Yu's out so quickly. And delivering 3 strikes. Hearing Jit, Nibiros calmed how slightly. Exactly, Git lab do demonstrate. Then his tone shifted. But do arrogant brat. Yo foolish swordplay. Do intentionally slowed the fame bly as if we couldn't keep up. Is yacht rate you do thin do a. Lunan oa left speechless. Hinli slowed the 3rd strike. To minimize the impact. And prevent straining his bogey. He wasn't looking how on the prophets but seeing Nibiros' fury. The explanation felt weak and useless, the Principin Ryman sighed awkwardly averting his gaze. Even Jit's eccentric guy as professors, shouldn't we have him notice Zimamphin? A mom later, Nibiru sheathed his out, and walked slowly, bsiu and teach do personally far even Apatu sitting how his hat CT not fame pit. The Principin watched the angry Nibiros, and carefully considered his oct, teach him personally. The Principin understood Nibiru's had already taken the boy as his disciple. He turned to Lunan and Zate Kit. Do passed, but we have u own mal kuchen fod oe did do cm to zilib roin akami? Lunan lowered his hat. Namari began to surface. The boy hat Gaivan altogether the strongest full-winged giant he knew. He thought it away finally Eva, but then high in the sky, an even more powerful 8-winged giant appeared. Fo Yun weren't the limit fo giant 8th Yun look. At Yatmem, the boy oa ragi, to fate to the jaint, but Ano surviving disagreed his plan. Instead she strangely gave the boy a kit. It and started 2.5 years. Only 3 giants suddenly invaded the Impe in St. Taimu. Ev hap the Tritori oa destroy. It wasn't unto Lunan's army joined the fate. Yeah, they barely met a guide to Hunha, but it came in a heavy pry. The entire army oa wiped, leaving Lee a critically injured Lunan. He looked Ev the battlefield sorrow. Is everyone jet? Get then. A voy rang it's been a long time since a shina hyam, ninyin his head. Lunan found the voy came farum the dying giant. Enraged he stomped on it fey. Hap the impeo is a grave bict of do. Oen do get kai, own to know how yo Defran died. Oh no I roasted by a ret rogan, the acao eternally sealed by do understand the goddamn monsters. He thought Juzu Oct would provoke the giant, but it didn't zim to ka. The Chiwan of the XTA share Kisant. I know exactly how they died, but we UN BBC Zun. N. On Jia is no Hyaman, left as extrang the Inyun do prich UN be consumed by X delay. Biffo it CTT Lunan slice PP it het. Git Kai already, XBME the talk, apt to it OAF. Lunan walked across the battlefield. Onto he found the bogey of his friend. He stopped and knelt Biffo him. Oe didn't do run? Oe yuk do so stop dying foe the shock of discipline. As Lunan oalst in grief, he suddenly ht a faint cry fo h dragging his wounded bogey. He followed the sow. It oa hi kamenka andershen. He oa x to a lot. Lunan felt a flicker of relief, but looking closely, the coming has condition oa critical. He had LSD an arm, yet he didn't zim to cabot himself. Instead Himli asked if the giant oa jet I killed it makes him fen. Hearing the answer, he looked as if at been lift. Tears began to fall. Thank do Lunan. Lunan took the chanto to Sichi reeked. Since do are so grateful, CCT do Gizu soldiers a proper burial. In the past, fallen soldiers ox simply abandoned. But no yacht, it's... They deserve a fangfian, apt to x-biking. Lunan coughed violently, seeing the blood on his hand. He ton the kamenka. Yeah, he CT kayat anime. Andishan wasn't surprised. Instead he asked, if do CCT lay, would do own to do? At the mention of Jit, a glint of lay returned to Lunan's AI. I'd probably go x-dui at an ekami. It oa my ln sister zerks like yes no hubfo yet no. Andishan roared BSC in anger. Hunt talk lay yat. The rescue Tim Yun be hiazon. But get then. The cloud breka. An array of lay shone both of him stared in terror. High in the sky, an 8-winged giant appeared, surrounded by a massive horde. In yat, ma Andershan fell into deep despair. Ivsvu jit, unyun 3 tai jit taimu already truly no yui. But Lunan chiru his zout. And shouted determination. The voice you selected does not support this. Ode do doing, you leave you'll tell the rights to warn me with my out of reach. I'm going to teach Jizu bastard the lesson. Andashan always stunned. Hey Xdu wants to fate in G. Ext. Oat incredible resolve. Yacht he kiss Lunan. And pass an oak into his mouth. Jidiok can rewind Taimu fo tai. If already used it thrice, it's how I Ragya Faram a tailor to Kamenka. Jit Fainchan is yours. En own du Yagan, please talk me aof by a tailor. A flate of lay erupted. Lunan opened his AIBSE in his vilt, 10 years ag, looking at the familiar scene. He oa paralyzed. Am I dreaming? He slammed his head ag in the try. Frarian he would wake up. Zun he accepted reality. Bekamin has gun, oa truly a massive bird. If I have to fay the giants Allen, oh choi do I have am to a momna fa. He came up a plan. He picked up a tri-branch, and ran toward the Vilt entrance. Along the UA, a group of bullies CCT his attention, they hanging a boy upside how. On closer inspection, the voice you selected does no way magic is like Rona couldn't believe it. He's clicked the inner row clash to leave which it feigned rare magic, laid telekinesis. He watched Farum the sidelines. The blonde Leo OA aggressively demanding Manny Farum a boy, but the boy's a he spent it N on his mother's McGee. He hadn't him thin left. Jid MT the blanket fear it. He ordered the Jan using magic to hoist the boy into the E, but the kind-hearted Assam hesitated. The situation turned into a standoff. Right then, Ronan whacked Assam Ev the het, his at top, gang to cure him. The boy on the ACA shy dropped to the ground. Meanwhile, the blonde Liu grew even more in rate. Oat to hell to do thondudra to do X stop, but Ronan get grabbed Assam. Ignore him, Temi, you did do lane yacht magic. Farum a spellbook I bought at X. Ronan always stung. He oa jit powerful using get a cheap biebs. Ronan's got ton him. Jit get would be a vital ATT yet. In the upcoming coup against the Giants, hey ATA's out, bind drawn, nin in around, the blonde you, already touching at him. How key to ignore he streng. But his fim oa and wrong. Ronan X-rate through him, he stepped aside and on. He had evaded the accurate ease. The blonde you panicked, but tried to play it cool. Do get DGT like Ronan played along, yeah it's my licky K. Seeing Ronan wasn't fatin be blonde you DGT even bold since we're here. Kneel and beg for my forgiveness. I'm extra ticking on of Yoam though, and Hungwari. El Tichi rin get cat of every time will I zayat but I get orange zifo hey see teeth. On of his ears hit the groin. Ronan oa livid. His sister oav on late no but he wouldn't elent o ayonikront, the ACA, bugzuck, paralyzed few. He had used a mere branch lay a lethal blot. Seeing him terrified run, ordered him to written the boy's manny. Every lot zen do have you. The thugs didn't he refuse. They handed everything Ev to the boy. And scrambled owie. Meanwhile, Ronan a packed Assam. They would MIT he and fo K at 2:30 am. They had something very important to do. Ap to Gaiven the Ingstra Ronan hurry up BSE hum. Standing at the fern co he hesitated. To many thoughts, raxing through should he apologize fo leaving without a should he tell how much he made, should he ATXC how she's been on he finally ex his sister Ronan Lee manic guy to Zai Imhum. Upon hearing Jit, she jumped fo G lay a chai. I can't believe it. I of you thought I'd high. Micum bra, Zaya, is key enough fat, due to own some more. Ronan looked at the 13 dishes NXP in front of he always speechless. He quickly waved his hand in refuse. Then he changed the subject. Sis, Hal and I do 22. Yacht, MD and the giant invasion OAX do 10 years owie. OE do ATXE she rushed F to check his forehead. Do Han Zim to have Ronan Turk H hen. No. Oat I'm in this. I'm ging to the Akaami to extra. His sister OA overjoyed. She skipped across the room and started rummaging through everything. Zun, she brought Al Becht. It oa fin to the brim gun coins. Ronan always stunned. How did you got in jit? If bin zvin fo to awiam fo do desire those she stood tan hen on it h but Ronan ton h. It wasn't nearly enough. Bikt Ronan, oa any renowned finlip roin, akeami. It had the MT prestigious prefa and the bet feigning shen backing. Not li yacht. The akeami hat produced 3 unsklat legine. Kamenka Angsen, the Zout Zen, Schlieffen, and the Yuntan to defeat the giants. Jit oa Ronan Sne Choi. Fo K later, Ronan headed to the meeting spot. The facts to thing he did oa herp his BSc. Alright, do it, he's 8. Tichi Contrav Yuskio telekinesis to alipimi as high as Duke. Ronan wanted to tat his man 11. But Assam oa hesitant. I can't do Zamamthan yacht dangerous. It's Fane, I'm insured at yacht. Assam finally relaxed. Mishi. He chanted his spell. As the magic surged, it felt lay an invisible hen. Oa lifting Ronan high into the he went even higher than Ronan expected. Though his contra oa a bit shaky, telekinesis oa id sanksum. Faux fate and flying giants. Plit, jit tape of magic oa roned of Murair. Hay's mine, he laughed satisfied. Meanwhile, Assam started to tremble. Can I peep do how no? Suddenly, Ronan a churu his out. He swung his blot NCT rate through them, landed gracefully on the ground. Assam oa absolutely floored. How did do ya? Do CT through magic. Ronan gave him a playful punch. It's ninthin, get electric. Get pretend didn't she yet? To be honest, it puzzled Ronan too. He didn't know OE his swordsmanship. OA so unique. It didn't get CT magic. It's CCT even slay giants. But he CCT figure ya, al rate no ki OA zamanthin mo, prancing. Ronan tossed his BSC to Assam. Let's go, we need to finish jit before the mun sets. We're done. We'll be students at the Finlib Acta Ami. Assam OA stunned. Did I hide rate, Finlib? Hats a plaxa full, elitsenly, duvki GT the skills. But I'm getting the bogey. Yes, no uyak, I know you're a bit slow. Cowardly, na tatin bahats okay? Do can x tap changing rate no, otherwise, doll an up lay those thugs. Wasting the rod of you, Sam blushed. It oa the facts to taimu, anyone hat cared, we quickly agreed. Ronan flashed a devious grin. Feizung complete, Zun, they arrived at a goblin nest. They asleep. But it ox to incredibly dangerous, Ronan's target. Oh, the treasure chest the goblins hat hoarded, no ustio telekinesis. Bring en of yat ivhia, Siemon, uskio peu. Assam oa paralyzed few, he stared at the goblin's ripped physique. If they wake up, we're jet mighty. Maybe we should het BSE and theme jet, but Lamanam pulled him BSE. If do own to got into Finlip Roin Akaami, do knit to MIT 2 conditions, expensive to exa and plenty of combat experience. So jet is lay killing 2 birds or own exa unless do havu a BTU idea. An idea I han havu, gurn of those ends. Let's get moving. Lamanon finished talking and opened the loven we get knit to fill it up. Axum had no choice but to follow. As the magic activated, the goblin Trejua began falling into the BSE to avoid waking him. Axum had to use every aoxo of strength to contra his mana. Fortunately, everything went smoothly. They quickly finned both bags. I knew do CCT do it, Lamanon patted Axum's head happily. But in trite, even she wasn't entirely Sue. She didn't expect Axum to a cap so quickly. Seems she found herself a decent tool. A STOE later to packed up and prepared to LIP. But get then. A group of pip came rushing toward him, accompanied by deafening screams. Lamanon immediately felt Zamanthan Oe in the middle of the night, did some lunatic ATK farm in asylum. Meanwhile, the grin-haired goblin Oe woken up by the noise, the facts to thing he did upon waking. Oe, check the treasure chest, it's gone, damn it. Grin quickly woke the rot of his gang. Anne held an emergency mitten to discuss the treasure went. But own goblin had a hip friend theory. He glanced at Lamanon and Axum. CCT they have stolen it? Realizing the trite, the goblins charged at him. Seeing jit, Axum Oa paralyzed few. He collapsed to the ground. Shouldn't we give a BSE to him? And give him a sincere apology? Maybe they'll end us, but Lamanon get 8 ruos south. So what about the 2x in them? Do have no whenever he needs to use his brand. Axum's main G blank, I hunt. Meanwhile, Lamanon glanced at the zout in Hehan. It OMT of cheap X2. Given the hardness of a goblin dude would probably snap up to about 15 swings. And Ki Gak gave 30 goblins here. But it's enough. A smirk played on Lamanon's lip. She charged straight at the goblins. In Oat felt lay an instant. The lock goblin fell beneath H blot. Axum watched in utter disbelief. Oat did I get cheat? Lamanon killed 3 in a shing stroke. Then she disappeared. Foe get exec and suddenly on the goblins. Axum couldn't H-chip but gulp. She's actually gotten jit X-strang. Get then. Lamanon's voice snapped him out of it. X stop daydreaming, grab the bags, we're gang home. A mom later, the 2 akon Q.A. BSC. I thought jit would be an Izzy Geop. But it turned out to be Kia has Lamanon stretched a aching bogey. Probably bicked, MX2 growing. I need to X step up my training own were BSC. Lamanon thought to herself, but get then. Axum brought up the screaming. Oh do thane yachts away. Lamanon shook H head. No idea I get no if I run into him. Il na ki hopapi, at yacht very mum. A ba an ara quietly aimed at Axum, but Lamanon blocked it ease. As for the man who shot the array, he had an apology on his lip but not a hint of remorse on his face. On Lamanon successfully took the 2 bags of treasure will find the goblins. Jizuta hat witnessed it. Grit had taken hunt of him. Seeing the assassination fail, they decided to try a hip. Fern Kit aren't usually wary of strangers. So they slowly walked Eva, X-ray about yacht Kit. I ate some rustling, and thought ki uk goblins nearby. Fear it, Lama non, snap the era in hap. If Shin Ma of the unyuan then do ever yuan. A mom later. The lit stand between hem oa less than the man reached out his apologizing own law. Oe his ai uk blued to Lama non's bse. Can do at least try. To hi jath breedia you'll acting is pathetic. Hearing jit the man fell silent foe, Amat looking at the kit in front of him. He didn't think he owe much of a threat, so he signaled to his partner and continued walking toward Lamanon, extra wearing yacht fact smile. He quietly reached behind his BSC and gripped the dagger at his waist. All right, I should probably introduce Nixonfen, we Hari Paula. He swung his bullet at Lama Nan as he spoke. Hari Paula, Lama Nan thought fo Emma oe casually striking BSC, instantly dazing him. I remember no, duar yat gerb of scumbag yet zen. Oe Lame non oe distract the blend guy charged in, but Axum noticed him and used telepathy to fury the blend guy in his trap. Jit Lama non gave Axum his fax 2 thumbs up of the K. Nixo UCC she then snatched the Zout farm the blonde guy's hand and unleashed a Zvingsta lay /3-2 own. As the Kongao ended, the blonde oi shredded into fifth as 8 left Axum completely zen-shocked. Lemonon oe did do actually cure him? Lemonon's gaze remained unwavering, and not leaving anyone alive who wants to cure me, especially not him. Hari Paula is the MT notorious skirp on Jit content. They're into poaching, kidnapping, and organ traffic. If it weren't for me, Growlis on yo grave would be 8 foot 10. Before anyone even found do, understand? Do idiot, but gip. Then, a sack nearby suddenly jumped, startling him both. Is Jit an animal they poached? Lamanon untied the rope. In an angst, Zemanthan XEMT and Lumpy flew looking closer, it owe a break blue beamed. It's biotiffin Axum marveled. It owe the fax to Taimu headshin abi yakala, but Lamanon oe focused on the bean's fit. It wearing mana-sealing shackles. Those are usually rise fo powerful or mythical bit. Odon ek did jib bean do, as Lamanon oe wandering, a greeting came far, the blue bean to ho, Axum jumped in fright. It talked. Lamanon looked at him, disdain. I do x stupid, hot slondixton communicix and magic. If I'm not mistaken, BXBake is the bean's owner. On the AC8, an ex-stranger man a gruff voice. Spiking into a magic accent. You guessed it, I'm the phantom bit rix eka my blue beat went midson intige. I couldn't reach it at M. I about to see the plit by the Yui who I do. Lamanon grabbed Axum get as he tried to bolt. We're get concerned citizens. Yo bean kidnapped. We euk the ones whose yacht he slashed through the blue bean shackles. Go on gabi asiti yokagi. Lamanon's gesture immediately thinned the blue bean gratitude. Then it shoved it, but right in his face. Is Lamanon extup his jit how do I say yo thanks? How own don to do own to me luckily the owner explained get in Taimu. The blue bean wants do to pluck own of it feathers. Bik, it feathers. Nui point, in the direction of the bean itself. It mto into zide duagan, but the mem Lamanon plucked the feather. The blue bean took pp layer racket, vanishing without a trace. Edusu, it wants to zaimi agan? Lamanon looked completely bewildered. Nekhe the took key treasure to the market. They planned to sell of Rith NTRG 20 gong the Metchans 8, studying the necklace. He offered Jit remarkably fat pride. The voice you selected does not as unworth this language. Please idly yathan raya moran to switch to another VSC to Yat Ben Wen guy earlier. Who's ate the necklace? Oa oct fi gun. Lamanon oa x2 anointed bang Jit guy is an expert. Lamanon then sold him the rard of his treasure. Meanwhile, Lamanon reached into his pocket and pulled a olat pop object. The blue bean hat left it in his hand before leaving. He originally thought it but it CCT actually CCert ek Lamanon's intuition ten him. Yeah, Jit thing. Defo. The Mikchan shared the same opinion. Jit color. Jit texture. Is Jit bean droppings? Lamanon instantly crushed. The man gave an awkward laugh at his Rit son. Actually, I don't know much about it. Lamanon LGTRA Gipsai. He peeped BSE into his planning to feign the arena expert to appraise it later. Sam watched Farum the shy tap in contempt. He really is a hardened crip. Changing the subject, Lamanon asked them is BFC about Finlip Roy and Akaami around here? We're looking to enroll, but we don't know much about it yet. Is Yatso my daughter Maria is Genki too? Do too should have a hand she comes no. Maria Lamanon oa stunned. Yat, NOA incredibly OHXOA blandum. Lamanon walked right up to, do really Maria, they all there at the middle and zen? Yeah, how did do know? Lamanon left speechless. The Maria he knew in his past lay, looked thin legit. Lamanon leaned in and whispered in each ear. Alemi ATXCQRDU A Huasin? Arnuria Oa taken completely. She looked how at H and curves. Is Jit guy's brand breakin', or is it get his AI? Before she CT even react, Nominon's gaze landed on a certain pat of H bogey. Hot's not rate. No matter how ILC at it, idiot she's not. And ManhWa an illegitimate. Before he CT finished, Ria X'd him up a massive slap. Oh the hell, a do bot from yacht slap. Laminon didn't foo pain. It felt incredibly familiar. He Oa no 100 certain. The PX gen standing in fo away the con Maria Zan of 10 years later. Before he traveled BSc in Ton Maria Oa X Cly fo the military. Despite H high and TB as Yoa easygoing and very approachable, shed often drink earth the common soldiers and Lamither and others talked about and Maria would got usually angry, followed by a zoop smack to the het. Lame non hat then so kairat bia you wanted to atxe seek sugyashanda ukmui. By the time uhe ex Maria agan, she had died in the coup agan the giants, but no. The Mitsori yacht haunted him fo so long away solved. The con away a giena along, knowing the trite no, Lamanon couldn't h it, but laugh el jitni mt Maria even more fear it. Staring wasn't enough for Odura laughing, she lunged fout to give him ano ria, but Lamanon blocked H, enough. I'd do head me own, bick? I do vhc no reason fo a Maria HTI turned fierce, she slammed H het into Lamana Odify own exec, and the two of them began to scrap and shove, nay their own way willing to be, the two bystanders left speechless by the scene. They rushed F to intervene, X-stop both of do X-stop quit Phaeton. By Ivanin, the three of them gathered in a XEMT, Sam stared at the two of them stunned. They get adage, a case, and know they're sitting tagging peacefully. OEG at Fu lay there unfrun. Meanwhile, Lamenam brought out 3 swords and a wand had looted Hemfar, the goblet. She have Kie any issues Urtji. Maria listened and began to examine the swords closely. 3 swords and a wand. Isn't it a hassle to carry and Yacht be helped? Get a precaution. In his previous lay, Lamenon's swordsmanship, incredibly brittle, as out almost every inch. So how do they LSC? Maria thought fo a execner not bad. Especially Jit, Blick, Aaron. The Matarine is exceptionally stern. No matter how rap do I doubt Jit thing you would never break. Maria then glanced at the magic wand. She noticed it a rare magic extent. She turned to Assam, hey cutie. Is Jit a rare magic extent? Outside of magic can do cuties? Assam beamed gee, yeah exactly. But then his expression fell. In Liji telepathy, Maria's Rickson intense telepathy. Hot's incredible, Matu, yacht, and dull got it really. Zenoria changed the subject. No, fo the Natkucha, fo the practicant exam. Combat skills can do demonstrate. Lamanon blinked. Do hahu to demonstrate skills. How cm head navu htv and to Finlip Roin, Akaami. Do mt pat both theory and the practicant involves showing pp a combat skill. Hot's impressive enough to you and entity nobles who apply. You in hit play key famous zikrit technique as fo ordinary applicant they usually used magic. Lamanon immediately cthpp, and I'm a swordsman, shouldn't bind get as out be enough? Can swordsmen even use magic? Maria looked at him in disbelief. Every ex-ton who wants to attend Finlip. MT be able to use magic? Hot's the absolute bakes uchrwa not fey. Han ten me, do can't even fumana? Lame nanoe coolus, fumana, is it lay using an aura? Yacht sentence finally MT Maria snap. Jit guy is basically an illiterate. And he wants to got into it. Hipstreamiki else cons xt jurt yao she grabbed as out pp the TTBU. Lenny yos out fo a bit. If it breaks, LP do bsc quit stalling, en falami. I'm going to give do some X-Pax and Tranin. Mana is the zook of en the churn hail. It exists in every corner of the onion. But do MT be able to zen it to use it? By channeling it through Yobogi? The resulting payo is known as magic. It usually takes a die to Matu. Despite Maria's thorough explanation. Ronan X2 didn't got it. Isn't an aura also MT of mana if do LSC capsulously? An aura is fama. Powerful even foe ginit. It takes at least 10 years to develop. But own. It's awakened. Ran a peo fama terrifying the magic. Hot's the hip fern between him. Alright, enough talk. The second she finished, Maria lunged straight at Ronan. So fat is Jit magic. So fat is Jit magic. The pale bit is incredible. But Ronan's bogey instinctively parried the strike. Then, a bit of fut, he shoved Maria BSE. Maria froze in shock. Shed poured each mana into the blot. So Oyoe she the own pushed to this guy. Anyway, they traded blows fo ex Varjma rounds. By then Ronan Oe Ragi to end it. His stinging farum the impact. He decided to unleash his aura. He swung his out how, but intentionally missed the Mac. Maria took the chan to fun Aoi. Du are fond of surprises. Ronan looked busy, du too. But du knit to UCC on Yobong. He sheathed the zout as he spoke. He turned around to Li Bua Duking. Maria wasn't backing how. She raised H zout du han actually thin. Ronan replied differently. Remember du promised. Trip payment for any damage. A second later, Maria's zout shattered into pieces. Did he even get then? Axum, the referee, Ran Evan called it. He didn't seem surprised by the outcome Eden. Du did a gert diop. He quickly hurried after Ronan. Leaving Maria standing key completely baffled of Mengstu is he. He doesn't even have Umena. The net K arrived. Ronan received enough Dean Fo 3 swords. Plit to Lotbags Fin the Epsi. Oatsan Jit Fo. The entrance exam is Nili a month awi. The voice you selected does the OE to helping wage. Rona's Nilamet Harai Quam bots with Rovin Hiru his out as he spoke. If du are trying to scam me, it's Fury and Fury. Maria laughed aloud. Totally. Fury of Tarzit own us both to pat the tet. Rona sheathes his out. Thane, El teachy him, Biffo Lon, Maria H goodbyes apt to helping him so much. If du extra fail on Kamen Fo Yohet Onen laughed, of course. Du sure worry about Yoksip, Zai du onexamed in the Imperian Capit and Eartha goodbyes finished. Ronan looked how his hen. Ev the next month. He had to intensify his trainin. His bogey oax du fought a week. Rona headed home shortly up to. The voice you selected does yap a port lizard every wheel. Lee stop lings clueless up for right corner to his lister oa royal to she it. H bra hat finally cm around. L anti the Nate. Ronan hunting monsters near the Vilt. He spent his fury time studying. But Ronan oa key annoyed. It's get an entrance exam. Oe do I need to laying TTB. Despite his complaints, he writ through every bit of Matarine. Yet Maria hat zun, a month half flown by. Ronan Annie Axum arrived at Finab Aka Ami. The Ika Ami oa as rang as a pallet. It completely blew Axum owie. He stared at it intently. He wouldn't stop gushing Evit. Axum, ode do doing, trying to prove Dora lek bumpkin, exeri ro Ronan. Axum looked at Ronan and froze. Ev a lot month. He seemed to have grown the shy. Ronan snapped him out of it, a punch. Top speech LNSMUV by no. He should be here as own, and Hayes probably around my Y. Does out Zen, Shalitha man hailed as the unstrongest. I might even run into him during the tat. Jidoe on extranguig. It smelled as bad as a rat kandurian. Axum couldn't stand the thing. But lick did he know, it oa octafo late by a blue bean. It wouldn't hatching to a beamed. Depending on the unveran men. It would hatching to a legendary bit. Yeah. Oa the bean owner's own Ronan and Axum reached Finlip. Axum brought up the blue bean. Ronan pulled Ao the feather. It CCT tracked the bean's location, but it pointed straight up at the sky. Ronan always stunned. However, Ivzun tout the ex-con's raptat. Inside, Marin opened the Yunshfo Sam E. Li to feign a face staring BSE at him. He nearly jumped out of his skin. He oa on the 30th Yulo ap to N. As a two of hem burst inside, Marin clutched the beant, trembling. Oh, do own, han do ti the beant. But own Ronan zo in him the fat. Marin finally relaxed. Duer the hero, who's do him, realizing who they Marin quickly invited him to sit, and so exri my earlier outburst. No worries, Ronan zaid, pinching Axum. If Ziemo and ha to teach he the blame, it's Jithai's fault. He telepathically brought us up here. Axum struggled, muffled by the pinching. But Duer the owner who tung me too, I didn't expect the owner to be a poet. And a prophet so at the Akaami, too. Marin scratched his head awkwardly. I didn't expect out here to be applicants here. If I'd known sooner, I would written do recommendations. But it's to and foya do fail ICC Rona CT him PP. Thanks. But hats not oe were here. He reached into his pocket. And pulled Ao the egg. Otis jit, you'll be laid jit in my hen. Marin took the egg, examining it closely. His expression turned grave. It's get a bean tag, great. Oe the serious fay. Marin shook his head. Jit is the Lojangari crim beant. T eggs a fafar am ordinary, if it absorbs fail mana. It's CCT hatch into a finage. In a Manx's nest. It might become a Manx stew. Marin looked terrified. But as Fojidon I can zai infinite mana in it. Intertwining and swirler chasing own anal, lay a vi eog, kamikin ritson, Ronan oa speechless. Oh, he really is a prophet so, to thin do CCT feign so much meaning in a shing. Meanwhile, Maran's expression began to turn serious. I think do should be the own to LSE aptu even though it's incredibly precious. It ni lays own in it entire life chose to be placed in Johan. We should respect it choi. The bluebee danced G upon hearing as if agreeing of Rith and Marin on the ACA shot. Ronan took the egg BAC. I have no objection. I'm also Kyrat to Ziotes inside. Then Ronan stood up to LIP, but Marin stopped him. The blue being OA chirping frantically as if trying to remind him of Zim. A mom later, Marin pulled the scroll far around the cabinet. Here, Tiju and A-Chip do the hat. Both of them looked on, completely confused. Taimu passed quickly. And it away Taimu fo the Ronan complained to Maria of Shah boredom had been waiting fo nearly a die. Anna X2 wasn't his but Maria didn't zim to cat. Exams a newly legit. X2 it would be Nixo. If I look cutie then we wouldn't be so bored. Hayes Amandia. So Hayes buying tested somewhere else. If he manages not to cry buying Alan, he'll be very happy. They bickering. The examiner called, Ronan he quick limb EGT up to head Ev. Hunt be nervous. Get do as I zu hunt hat. Hunt even bone and get wave HPP. I know. Thanks for the heartfelt bulls. You then turned Aoi a determined Ellis LBBSE in a flight. Ronan Zun arrived at the Teton ground, standing before him. 5 professors farm in the Zen 2 OA the headmaster. Archmage beside him OA the combat instructant Bram at Nibiros. Get by standing in front of home. Ronan felt an overwhelming zen of pretzas. But he didn't hesitate full on. He gave the professors a polite bow. Hello, my name is Ronan. Greetings. Yeah, dummy F key is yo opponent foe to a. SAS whatever techniques do can. Ronan glanced at the dummy. I hunt really have you any expect he'll get essays do a cooch draw strike. I think hot small. The enough foe a dummy. The blank prophet so burst L laugh at the cooch draw strike without any mana. And do expect to break it hiffen who did yet seem for the white-haired prophet so chime Hayes get some hillbilly far a rimit the no own cool he ha no idea. It is a proc of Prixixen Magicin not Lee is it hithen incredible but it also ha regenerative propod even Schliethen, the Ginnete swordsman. CC Therely LIP a scratch on it. IDLPP2 she heat that he I-haired own mocked him earth maybe hell split it in hap. Amidst key mocking lap 2. Ronan took his stance. A powerful aura emanated from him. In an explit execnant, Ronan completed his cooch draw strike. I'm finished. But yacht expit owain teen thin expax end to the professors. They almost felt lay laughing. Onto apt to a brief delay, 3 metallic clangs rang awe. The headmaster froze in shock, and beside him Nibiru stood up abruptly. In a flate, he rushed right in front of Ronan. He aggressively pressed his Zhao Agan Ronan's neck. Who taught do yacht swordsmanship? Ronan Raymond completely expressionless. You're scaring me. Nibiru's didn't listen? Izate who taught do those moves. Ronan OA puzzle. Did you talking no? On taught me. So Nibiru's changed his kuchen. Did you zai my move? Emin get no? I exit door key impressive. Drawing Yo's out in such a st time and then when 3 strikes. Hearing jit, Nibiru's calmed how slightly. Exactly, get lay out do zoen. Then his tone shifted. But do arrogant brat. Yo foolish swordplay. Do intentionally slowed how the feign strike. Get to MC Chisu we said yatsli zayas do thin due. Ronan HTO it stunned. Hinley slowed the 3rd strike. To minimize the foot. So he wouldn't strain his end bogey. He wasn't looking how on the professors but looking at the Fiorit Nibiros. Any explanation would have sounded hollow. The headmaster OA speech awkwardly averting his gaze. As Fojuzuker he stunned yak he at OA's a menthen they had in Shen to Aoi. Nibiros sheathed his out. And walked slowly BSE. Taiyuan personally instruct du on BRT in his exit. His main OA fa far am settled. The headmaster looked at the agitated Nibiros, carefully considering his oct. Personally instruct. The headmaster Adivant. Nibiros had already claimed Jip Boy as his disciple. He turned to Ronan and Zai. Do passed, but we have own mal kuchen fodu. We did do CM to the Finalip Royan Akami. Ronan listened and lowered his head. The memory of the past began to surface. Then he blurted to LP no but more accurately so his sister wouldn't have hat nui been so fo him to go after answering. Ronan left the examination high. No regrets. The headmaster chuckled. Hot's key a heavy burden not even Sue. How to him meanwhile the blind prof quickly leaned in, eager to know. Exactly get hap we did do end the bureaus. Have such a hyuji ritz once I have tricked yuck kit fun trick. No. To be more accurate, you should see yut tell on the ACA shot. The dummy Ronan hat struck suddenly split apart. Then, it collapsed onto the ground. Those 2 joke urged sunned, cutting a dummy an old strike. The distant crim of every examinee. Then Yivu expected anyone to actually elsewhere. Ronan stood outside, dazed. Thinking BSE to get happen, yet, he the out. Even his past wasn't entirely Sue so coming to the Finlib Royan at the Ami. Definitely the right choi. I'll definitely be able to lane a lot here. Thin I never knew in my past. Ronan gave a XCMT and headed toward the written exam. Neck up is the written test. Fozi MON who studied Fo an entire month. It should be key simple, but apt to the voice stunned. The hell is jit? I just questions even MD info. Meanwhile, Maria stared at him, bewildered by his expression. Oh, what is Jit guy doing? Didn't he spend the whole month Ryan my BFC? How CTT he mess up Jolmbat Lizai? Sam spoke up beside H, sounding hesitant. Do gave him to backpacks fun of BS OA fo the warriors and the ACA OA fo the Mimelius. He grabbed the Magia backpack. Maria OA completely speechless. CCTZMON really be up. He doesn't even know Oat Hayes looking at. Time pass legit. Who knows for real Kung A chip, but haul loaning up. Alright, X stop complaining. The practicum exam carries more anyway. MCU Dolby Fang. Meanwhile on the exam results posted quickly, everyone stared intently at the BO. Hoping to Zyke A names listed. Sam passed, ranking 12th in the practicum, and 1st in the written. Maria ranked 9th in the practicum, and 9th in the written. The two of them looked at Echik, SC, apt to a stunned silence of Duhan Hafizachins, AC, we passed. LSE do actually GT Vatits of the Ryue fit, but Dur X do amazing cutie. Sam CCT and Lee giggle at the praise. IOA get licky. Maria then turned to ATXC Lonan, but Demanthan didn't zimrate. Lonan's fei oa pale as jade, am not on key. The truek dumbfounded, hots impatsiba, kpn yo ai wider nlci chet 30 tai, but, get, then, an explosion echoed far and behind. A finish suddenly appeared. It lgta a long cried and launched the massive fireball. It oa heading straight for Lonan. Apt to the blat subsided, lot oct appeared clearly in front of Lonan. Lonan, first in the Grauwax and Practicum, written exam, 5,700, so yet means we passed. Hot skirt, but, Lonan quickly realized is a manthan terrifying. If I'm fax too, yeah it means yet guys ranked behind me. Jez not get. Suddenly Lonan felt a chilling killing intent far and behind, walking slowly toward him. Oe the Zoutzen Schliethen. He never allowed anyone to surpass him in swordsmanship. So do a numbu Lonan didn't own any trouble. Am I fax too? Huh, no. X stop playing da. Lonan simply shrugged. Du Zai in faxu. The voice you selected as Yati Zai is land on him to do hag led upper right Schlieth and David Chiwina your voice. And swung his blow G at Lonan blood the strike oa block. Yes, yo proof. No own but the bet CCT block my zet. No prove yo swordsmanship is superior to mine. Lonan oa getting annoyed. He thought he seats he bluff his you but guy hadn't changed that in. Thane, then oat closely. Lonan leaped backward. Creating some lit stamp he swung his blot on. Schlieffen oa stunned. How CCT own Zion prehia. He raised his hand to block the ek. But the overwhelming peo, empty Schlieffen's fingers tremble uncontrollably. Own, happy no. Lonan thought Schlieffen would give up. Instead he charged at Lonan again. Own of us hot to kai 2a. Lonan panicked. He hurriedly taught him to calm out, but Schlieffen's AI grew even more ferocious. His subsequent attacks became even more relentless. Jit oa exactly oe Lonan dreaded seeing him. Chikai is, Yui too obsessed, or jip tip up, help probably use his aura x tom. Own yacht ha clash of all auras Yuen be impatsiba to x stop. He had no choice. Lonan turned and bolted. Schlieffen grew even more enraged. Odi do doing, how can do Tanyo BSE on an Emedri's surprise. Lonan ran behind Asem. And held him up as a shoe. Seeing Jet Schlieffen didn't key Akablesly. Do coward. Actually using as a shoe. Lonan sneered. Get, as I thought he hasn't changed. Hey, it's Stu values the CCT of chivalry more than lay itself. Then, Lonan threw a punch without hesitation, breaking Schlieffen's nose and knocking the fate AO of him. Lonan quickly grabbed Asem and Maria, and they vanished in the blend of an AI, leaving a stunned Schlieffen behind. Rate a yacht, mom. The Finlip Royan, Aka Ami guards arrived apt to hearing the commotion the scene. They immediately panicked. Who would key injure a dang matu of the Royan? They quickly asked. Please tell us the culprit Lawaleto and arrest him immediately. But Schlieffen tan hem, not or stop treating me late, rate no young mess. I'm dit an applicant. Besides, it owe a fed duel. Apt to saying yacht, Schlieffen brushed PP the dialite he at Allen, el handle jeek makes him then he loped how. Lee, two she cracks appearing on his out, how is jit passen jits out oa forged far am the finest materials it's supposed to be indestruct. Then Schlieffen cracked a smile. Intrantin chanhanum oa at el remember, yoen, the neck K. Lonan and Asam went to the foray on the outskirts. They lucking foe the Lajangari River. Lonan checked the map foe ages, but couldn't feign a thing. I swear the map says it's right. Asam oa exhausted farum the ZX2, but he oa more worried about ot happen utage, since Schlieffen is the heir to a reign GC. Aren't do afraid hell retaliates. You did break his nose apt to Jen. Lonan didn't cat Hey is actually a decent guy. He's get obsessed swordsmanship. He, his, and beliefs, and every bullies the weak. Hayes basically the magan of a PP that hell's IATOA fed duel, otherwise we'd be in jail by no. Asam nodded in agreement. Hot's true. Suddenly, Lonan stopped awking. Bikt, they finally found it. The Layangari Fananya X-Sprin, known as the veins of mana, Hia. XTYN absorb mana to become gems and weeds transform into medicinal herbs. The mana concentration if Lonan didn't flew a thing. He always simply follow it. Prophet so mognas, and to hatch the egg Hia. To in the egg absorb mana, so it would hatch into a more powerful. But suddenly, Assam felt a vague zen of unease. Lonan always it's so quite Hia. You did and the animals go. Tiat reminder. Lonan also felt Zemanthano it wasn't get quite. A fitch, foul stench permeated the e. Lonan gave a XEMT jealousy lay the geek GT but second later, Phi Ara came flying out the ute toward Lonan. Every Ara Oa infused potent mana to further bit key X-bit. Luckily, Lonan reacted get in time of knocking him how instantly a quick draw strike. Damn it. Lonan started awking slowly toward him. Asami feign erect to hide behind get haunt got turned into a pincushion. Up to finishing his own it, Lonan's aura flared up, and he charged ahead explosive x 3 kilometers owie. Phi mamb of Calipolo. Fo oe dogsing ki liu huan. Iziti, how Phi magician fuster are erdishingstra. Who the hell is Jidai? Pup, he senses Amanthan OAP quickly ordered his men to spread awe, hoping to flank Lunan. But unexpectedly, to lure him into a trap, Luna shouted X-top yo ek. Do idiots, I'm yo ally. Pup he froze in his tracks. Hue do calling an idiot seeing they X do doubtful. Luna continued to deceive him. I'm the youngest Han of the Akama branch. Hearing Jit, you, and the others regrouped. But Pup, he X do had his doubts. Jit him by Hinthier's kit. How can he claim the same rank as me? Even so, the fake Luna knew Ki in Tan Zykerit so own, left him completely conflicted. However, the tried Behangja Oa Yacht Luna and Hat met a man named Eniu during the Giant Crusade in his past lay. Eniu's extat in Calibora Oa Lajangari, even outranking the hounds. He often bragged about his Aksha ploy in Cam, especially about Ki poaching Ara. Luna remembered every detail. If do Han believe me, Oe not see yo li you, own, Luna finished, a wicked smirk. Immediate lay do, might be incapable but I'm not. Pup, he flew into a rage, he grabbed Lunan, argued to cure him. But Lunan get shrugged. And acted innocent, guys lay do who cure on a whim. Navu siam to a gidan, fortunately his men help Pup, he BS. If he says is true, killing him you and X that a coup the Ikama branch, we should ent own decide. The loud commotion disturbed own nearby. His massive 8-foot frame approached. Didn't I tend to be quite hunting? His overwhelming pretzes paralyzed him few. Meet Peepop he dared to walk toward him. He explained the situation in detail. Owen listened calmly. Jifrey belongs to the Demir. Ode do doing here? Unan smiled. He had finally lured the Liu. Is yacht so then maybe it's get me. Luna CCT hem in only strike. He CT then launchlo hall Liu. A flight of Exton owns het hit but Luna spared ne pup hey. Didn't I tend do? Do wouldn't have Ua get in, ap to a explit exon of Pup Hay's fingers severed, agony washed of him. He collapsed to his knees in pain, unable to stand. Luna tossed him a map. Mac the locations of Enyo branches on Jid map do yacht, and and Hupule he hesitated, betraying his comrades would mean a certain jank too. But own he looked up, Luna's terrifying gaze braka him. I'll rate it. Lunan glanced at his spotless, blicks out. Rate it using yo fingers. I left him Kigit, Fojit, Zun, Hup. He marked and the location and handed a B.E. to Lujin. Do marked him on, Vari Klaya. Hearing Jit, Hup, he bowed his trembling head. Do promised me. Let me go. Rate, meanwhile. Lunan slowly peeped the map awi. Echeru his out. And sliced Pop he and two. Of course I'm not letting do go. Lunan wiped the entire poaching exquat. Anashangon survived. Dict, nearby, the evidence of Ki Crame. Oa of animals of on sizes had been slaughtered. Assam Oa so sickened he nearly threw up. X2, he worried, if Luna's actions to cruel. They unwanted criminals. We're doing a get deed. Lunan spoke as he looked how. At the bogey of a blue bean tit. Even Jit own Oa killed. Preface so maroon UNB devastated. Get then. The bean egg in his pocket began to vibrate. Lunan quickly reached in to teach it a. The lit guy empty own to Zayat mother own lot Taimu. Beside him, Assam, suddenly panicked. Lunan, LSEF key, ode on Assam trembled few. Lunan looked toward you, he away the blight of the jet and away flitting into the e. Merging Tagug. As the massive bloke grew larger, Lunan immediately gripped his zout and took a combat stance. Even he, hat navushin ninathan zegencheat. The egg braka fury farem his hen, and drifted into the e. A mum later, on the blay, began to swirl violently around the egg, and away absorbed in massive gulps. Even blafuram further awi gathered key. Assam x jit, and hid behang Lunan in terror. Maybe we should go BSE. But Lunan stared at the egg. AI alight. I haunt no oats inside, but it's definitely Izima min hapmonins layer. The eggs seem to be fun. The bloat Ryman suspended, and stopped by and absorbed. Lunan watched it blankly. He wondered if it had actually changed. But a second later, a crack appeared on the zen, and quickly spread. Lunan oa overjoyed, finally hatching. Ellen's she exactly oat. Jit extraordinary creature is, but Biffo Lunan CT gotta get to the herod hit to the head. It away so fat, oat oa yacht. Lunan clutched his nose in pain. And he oa, egg strange you, pitch black lit creature. Yet doesn't LSE lay a beamed atten, is it? A Rogan? Lunan oa is speechless. SM, do serious, int, it LSE get, lay the descriptions in BFC, app to a mum. Lunan away baffled agan, who the hell did jot blue bean, map. To pre-hit jit thing. Lunan tried to reach NT, the lit guy oa vari cooperative, nuzzling it het agan his finger, but then Lunan remembered it had injured his handsome fay. PGGT annoyed. LC lay were having a lit creature since they quickly used healing magic to completely repair Lunan's injury. It then flew and nuzzled his chitch. Lunan finally forgave it. Jit lit guy can actually heal? How many Zygrit is it hiding? Asan's AI lit up. Ellen's give it an fax too, but get then. The creature seemed to zen Zamanthan. Its expression darkened and it suddenly charged in own direction. It's detected Zamanthan. Quetch, follow it, the targeted oa chasing. Turn A to be a surviving poacher. The poor guy had get gone to the bathroom, lead to written, and feign his camp hiding nearby. He had witnessed the hatching proxit, terrified A of his mate. He ran fo his lay. But despite running fo so long, he oa eventually overtaken by the incredibly fat lit guy. Terrified. The poacher tripped Ev a extra between his chan. The lead creature immediately used a Dremil love farm, the man's wound. Extop Sita. Do gang to cure him. Rona's voice suddenly rang Assam looked confused. Sita, is ya the and do gave it, and do lay it? Hearing Jit lick Sita nuzzled Agan Ronan. Looking exceptionally happy. Ronan then turned his attention to the poacher. I do alright, on it. The poacher fell to his knees in terror. Thanks to do. I'm okay, but how did you know my aunt? Rona responded by resting his out agan, the man's throat. Do han net to know yat, my talkative poacher friend. As it turned at Jit oa the same PX Gen Farm Rona who used to brag about poaching in the Mishane immediately denied it. No, I'm get a love renu, Hodson Lee temporary. Doll eventually climbed to a much higher position. Ronan smiled. I knit do to do me a favor out to Sita hatched. Ronan returned to the Imperial cabin, but he took care of own thing on the Yui. Zamanthan yat mt heme if ya spring you to the to hat collected. Oa rich pumala. And Maria's father bought it fo and entrana mikan pro. We should go thank Prophet so macfam. Assam suggested excitedly. Ronan agreed. Aptuan, he x2 had to break the news about the blue beans. However, they arrived at the Fitchin Lee to feign the co-locked. Prophet so marin oa awi on a bizinitra and wouldn't be BC foki sometime. No ACH what to had to LIP. On the UEBS, Assam started prying into Ronan's bizinet ag. Ode duging to do and yacht. Ronan fell into thought. Since he ranked Fex2 and Prac, he had a font scholarship, meaning he didn't have U2, PAs and for the entrance ceremony, Li to Kaowi, he wasn't even Taimu to spend it. So Rona decided to bring his older sister Erin to the city. Kemin from the countryside, she had Navu and Nini. She oa awestruck by the rang Akatach and fascinated by thin shed Navu in count. But she cared about oa how much ons H brahatha. She kept asking if he oa skipping means. Rona impatiently explained Ev Nev. Yat he oa doing it venton. H not to worry. Shortly Aun anteriorly took H by the hen. CM on I own 2S8 we have memgolity. 2.5 minutes later, she stood key speech you at brought hat t some money was. Did they really need to be at a luxury extolation? Ronan, however, didn't care about the CCT. He repeatedly checked Earth the clerk to ensure home delivery. The clerk away beanie RG. Forget the countryside. Wed deliver a jit to the Philippam Childress. OA already the 5/10th item Ronan hat purchased. Aaron couldn't believe it. The voice you selected does not support Halfling. Finally, the upper right started running to another voice. Ronan Harley ton H to com Helen's go to the blacksmith. My Zatoe break in by some jerk. Therefore Ronan's hushin he pian the co. And ex Shulifen's fei. Rona always stunned. Oda dude doing he is you stalking me. Shulifen spoke up to explain. I'm picking up a news out. Do are the own who ruined my lot on. Surely do haven't forgotten. Shulifen's gaze grew increasingly fierce. So ex stop slandering me. Ronan didn't BSE how. A stalker is a stalker. Quit making excuses. Ronan angrily chiru his sout. Oh me to s.a. do Oda ruined Zhao. Shulifen placed a hand on his hilt. Get idea. Get as the tension reached a breaking point. Aaron stepped between him. Ronan oe confused unlahi. Doof dgt if he's the jerk. But his sister wasn't having it. She scolded Ronan. I taunt do no swearing. And do are talking BSE no. Then she turned around. And apologized to Shulifen fo bras vada yas mum. Shulifen's hat began to raxa wildly. He felt as if he falling fo a jogjian hat evrim ti him fujiet ui bifo. Shulifen immediately took the blame on himself. And promised to teach responsibility. Really, hot sot sai of do. As she's Aaron grabbed Shulifen's hand, Ronan. It's own defon to have a friend lejit. Dul teachy get cav Ronan. Undo? Shulifen's fei flushed of course. Fax do I'll replace his sout. Shulifen reached fo his ci pow. Need to realize he hadn't brought any money. Instead he pulled his familia kurt. Jit is the symbol of my how. Use jit instead. It's recognized every on. If do own ne news out, go to the blacksmith on Ruixi extrit. They have 500 years of commoners usually can't got in, but urge it, do can. I hib they can forge a worthy blot fo do. After saying yacht, Shulifen walked out. Unsteady says Ronan oe baffled. Is yacht really the Shulifen I know? Gee he even know ot gid. Yat Grancia family Kurt. CC probably buy an entire vilt. Shortly, App 2, the entrance ceremony began. Princip and Glacier took the stage. The entrance ceremony officially begins now. Oncome, geniuses of the 787th class. Then came the Princip, Lon, drawn-out speech. Rona couldn't chip but yawn. But suddenly, the Principant stopped talking and snapped his fingers. A mom later high in the sky, expects and rip, tore peeping. In the blend of an AI, everyone present OA teleported onto an arana. As the crowd looked on in shock. The Principant simply smiled. No, Elenska, the upperclassman, and the freshman. A chant got to know secondly teleported him into a dueling ring. Oat followed. OA a mitten between the freshman and the sophomore. Rather than a friendly introduction, it OA maw of a content. To establish a hiren would gain CCT to more educational rixic. On Onshai freshman lay Ronan and the Zout prodigy. On the ACA the Tine Pifo farum lot dias mxion hifapsu plexa, next second plexa, third alaplexa, Karen fourth plexa, Ilan Ichgov, hum possessed incredibles. And in hat hip fern combat extalo. Everyone watched in anticipation of the intense mock. In an Akaami fun of geniuses, who would truly be numbu own, jit OA a highly meaningful duel. It wasn't get about winning or losing, but also about understanding GKS strength. The Principant announced the rule loudly farum the stage. Do a fury to chu yo opponent foe, but jit is clearly unfair foe the freshman. So do also have the upsun too. Then the Principant added a smug remark at the end. Ki is no exium in given up. Rona no I fear it. After trinkering a yacht. All a obviously lucking how on the freshman. Since then havu reached jit point. I might as own used jit to prove to my yada and be bullied at ixcon. Lornan hat a sudden fled. He waves his head around, stopping the Principant. Can I am a suggestion? Since I can see you freely. How about they and teaching Lornan's occult left the shenio stunned. Ki a ok fin shock. And a hint of anger. Is jit kit get fun of ha e? A reek to lay jit. O a fax too. In Thinlib Akaami hit ori. The Principant went to Kongsun the professors. The two clowns at a tatin loss. Linabira's OA strongly in favor. He wanted to zai else the kit OA hiding. Continue. If thing got of contra. Ayu in X step in N intervene. See Nebara's confidence. In controlling the situation, the Principant had no choice but to agree. The Mog resumed. Fax to mock Lornan versus faux sophomores. His sister in the stands began to panic. She shouted to Lornan, be careful. Give up the mom do fu danger. But Lornan get smiled. He waved to S.A.H. key. At the Principant's command, the duel began. Nestor charged expert. Almost invisible Lornan at A with the strike. Jit guy's expert is fought by Maria's Lavin. Immediately Fortsfranked Alana attacked Hundaggers. Lornan parried X large enough H strike. OE Lornan's Vayu OA blocked by Alana. Karen took the chan to thrate H, realizing he couldn't huck Gyo in Taimu. Lornan quickly raised his out to the shafut of the impact. Actually sent Lornan flying BSC X-Bar, but the Ream Danger OA X2 Kamet Behane Lornan. Balarma had already raised his greatsword. Try not to talk lay yacht in yo neck lay. I wanted to fate Dufet and Zuquake. Balarma swung his blot and his might to strike away fat, and meanwhile the ACA3, already poised fo felly up attack. Impressive. Key commentary takes years to ppnh. Even Lornan had to praise key Lavin of teamwork, but in the blend of an AI, Lornan vanished farum rate, befo key AI, leaving him hitting empty outside of expert is beautiful Ilana CCT even prof Lornan in charge of BSE in at incredible expert. Then, he landed a heavy blade on each of the three, defeating him instead of neck. OA the duel between the two elite swordsmen, Belarma OA eager foe that he charged out his blood, but the Mam Lornan swung his out, he ex of terrifying image. The silhouette of Prophet Sona Bureaus in Lornet CCTP aura ha already reached the Prophet's Lavin. OE Belarma, OE momentarily folatively crushed Lornan had finished his strike. By the time Belarma recovered, his great sword had been shattered to pieces. Lornan simply gave a lay smile. He shot the professors a provocative glance. A freshman challenged foe teen AP talents. And urged overwhelming dominant, he shattered the weapons they so proud of. It turned out Lornan's praise OA truly on the Lavin of the Akami professor, and his whole reason for the challenge OA simply to essay his sister. Yet he wouldn't be picked on. Up to Lornan secured his victory. The venue OA silent foe then cheers erupted. Yacht shook the sky. No ONX jet result Kamen. And UX Tung ha actually defeated the teen AP foe Shinyo. Amidst the thunderous applause, the foe defeated students stood in a daze. Nestor stared at his break-ins out. He OA completely graceful in defeat. He knew he and Lornan, leg apart. The big guy knelt on the ground in despair. But Lornan's perspective OA entirely hip fern. No yet is him worry about me getting bullied. He then turned his gaze toward his sister. She OA so she grabbed an innocent bystander by the collar. Did do Zaya, the voice you selected does not where was laying utterly miserable. Lornan thought for a winners that switched to another voice and decided to play his role to the end. He walked slowly toward the foe of him. He politely placed his hand on his chest and bowed a fun 90 degrees. Thank you foe accepting my challenge yo. I learned a lot to a Sam OA dumbfounded by the Zate. What is Lornan doing? Did he? It's Zementhan spoil. Both students exchanged glances. Surprised yet emon so powerful. Sissy also be so rest. Valarma jumped up in excitement. He grabbed Lornan's hem. Yes, no net to be so humble. He raised Lornan's hen high in the E. Duar the UN, the Zate of him laughing and talking. Convinced his sister. Yet Lornan had truly even befriending his Shinyo. Far on the sidelines, upkeep here watched the whole thing. The corners of H mouth curled. He really is an Intrenton boy. Nate Zun arrived. It OADX Ami's welcoming banquet. A Sam OA dazed by the Zate. A mere banquet CCTB jet rang. Maria get smiled at him. Used to such luxury H whole lay, she then began to feast on the MIT. A Sam started gossiping again. Did do Zayo sister PP? Yeah. She kept telling me to it before she left. And not to pick fights my fove, to convince HID before H Pertuxin. I even send Sita along. Aptuan she's a Rogan, a Sam looked delighted. Do really a thoughtful bra. Aptulorn and finished explaining. He picked up a chichkin LSE chit as he owe about to Tisajamite Schlief and quietly appeared behind him. Do really can it, pit of Mainno, his southern Prasian, gave Lornan a fright. Lornan instantly snapped at him. Oh, did you own jit Taimu, Timthin? Kit Simamthin very important. Lornan looked confused. Oh, CCT a rich kit lay him possibly consider important. Schlieffen nodded solemnly. He pulled out UXEMT doc. The voice you selected does not is a Larngia language. Lornan OAT because for the in Ornhat to switch to another voice. How a their wrecked conditions is the XP on the Aeon okay key bandits on the UE. The rapid-fire questions left Lornan's head spinning. Is jit the important thing? Schlieffen looked even more serious. I tried to arrange skill made. And a skilled mercenary unit foe H production? Or to do Doom Team Thin at Ain? Bicht, yeah, it would be terrible. Lornan retorted angrily. I sent a Ragan to Pritch Peach. A Ragan is stronger than any mercenary, but jit answer. Li MT Schlieffen ma anxious. A Ragan, unit hurt lahi Eli. Despite Schlieffen's concern, Lornan didn't a pricks at the interference. She's my sister. Oh gee she havu to do fin do a to H yat. Kuchen completely stumped him. His easy teen least jammershifo I long timus in yacht. Awkward silence. Pop with a fascinating zate. Tizai the dang matu of grunta. So talk it. The mom hates. Th foy. Schleifen's fay twisted in annoyance. Oh did do own mina yam handstanding biffo him. Oh a the teen AP exton of the magic apartment. Elizabeth. Arcalusia. She gets smirked. Huh? Got the ride. I'm not here fodu. I'm looking foro hearing yacht. Schliffen L and on zaya and hop to whoever do own. He turned to Agawi. but paused optimally a few steps. Onyx I should probably send some Grancha guards to pritch him. Mike, zvu hisn that own Ronan aid he get tunyas got LSD. A mom later, Axum tugged at Ronan's sleeve, staring at Arkaluja in terror. Yeah, Jian, she's powerful, overwhelmingly extra, but even Agan a defenseless opponent. She shows absolutely no muxy. I can't respect Zmonly. Arkaluja overheard him, but simply peeped on the innocent face. Ioa get teaching him a lesson. Then, H expression shifted instantly. She reached into HCT, pulled at a pop brooch, and handed it to Ronan. Accepting the invitation, Ronan stared blankly at the token. In his past lay, Zmon had given him, Jit exacts an invitation to G from the High Kamenka, Angsan Arkaluja. She looked at Ronan tat in confidence. Yo town, patsing the trial UNB Chai's play. Elizabeth watched him fo a mom na, and su do no o Jit represents and I trot dal seach. The rate she turned to LIP. But then glanced BSE of H show, a who stays in the sheepfold to long becomes a sheep. Ya Chiani H followers departed. Axum finally breathed a sigh of relief. Ronan had no interest in Geoake Hirat about the Arkaluja fam. Mysterious Angzen Katsan. It might hand clues about the giants. The fax 2K of XCon arrived quickly. At the Finlip Royan, Akaami strength is of Rithan. Yo entrance exam scores determine exactly how dull be treated. Average students XT and media high. They got private room. SCCT to Bathat but fo the bottom 30. Lay is miserable. They're tacting to XEMT wooden shacks. Even many dang nobles is stuck key. On the fax 2K, they usually excrin faux private rooms and skiss and servants. The teachers get patiently explain. We haunt have any of you do own a bath yields, a plitch bathao, and how the do haunt extat studying ha doll x do be livin hien as I do around. Dang masher yacht. The teacher walked owie, leaving the dang nobles behane, staring at each. Hey CE. Meanwhile, Ronan, the of the teen AP 10 elite students, staying on Nebaju's extrat. Then Li foet oe magnificent. Even Ronan OLF speech Li CCT already met Axum's jaw dropping at the Z8. As Ronan oe ticking it and in, some comment on the GNCT his a. They course description and application form. Elites have the Furiam deceit Q Kion classes, but fo a nil lay Ronan. Every Shing course looked fascinating. Head, HT yacht freshmen shouldn't overdo it. Ansh left him feeling conflicted. In the end curiosity on the awe. Whatever I'm signing up fo of Rithan yacht fan. And he oe finit. Ronan looked at his application, a satisfied grin. He had signed up fo nearly two-thirds of the curriculum. Since I'm a guinea, I should do whatever I own. But he zung came to regret it. Shortly Aptu Bakesich swordsmanship being struck and stared at him intensely. Ronan. Do a rargi, to Ronan oe confused. Oh do we get started? Exactly, the teacher replied. It's only the beginning, and yet you've already demonstrated every Shang technique perfectly. If ILN do X day here, the ACA students UN Lysk, the voice using what is nice if ours is jet of the K. Please then came iron right forearms a match to another voice. And a third farm the hunting instructin. Ronan o losing his main. Every Shangon of Hemhat kicked him out of clat. Left no chor. Ronan X by the Rutha. Questioning of Riz suddenly, a voice spoke far am behave. Do LSE familiar. Shouldn't do being clat rate no. It OA profit zone the bureaus. I she. Do finished and yo courses didn't do. Ronan stammered and Rick spawn. Yeah. On the classes G bake sich. It's not oat I expected at N. Nibiros knew he OA talented. But finishing of Rithan on the fax 2K, OX to Umthud even his absurd linning ability. How hey CCTLSE at me and perfectly mimic my swordsmanship. Nibiros unbuckled his zout. If the Xangat curriculum isn't enough fo do, hey gestured fo Ronan to hen ev his BLG then il and me give do a rinlet. If Rona's CCT react, a blast of magic and ongos surged past him. It triggered a massive explosion in the lit stand. Biffo Ronan CCT recovered your Onga shock. Yat is the limit of Yat piece of Jingdu. No matter how much money do pour into it, AU and Navy will be more than ya. It's not even a weapon. Then, Nibiru slowly gripped his as out. A late me hat strike. Using the exact same stance and the exact same technique, he unleashed Peo 10 tie greater than Biffo. The resulting exclact, cry 8 of downpour in the surrounding, looking at the stunned Ronan. Nibiru simply smiled. Do Zio door lacking no? It owe the same technique, the same strength. Yet Ronan couldn't fathom the massive gap in Peo. Il-10 do Nibiru's explained. Oh, do nit MT is a reen weapon. And do nit to lane how to change mana, but key oa x2's immenthan bothering Nibiru without a decent weapon. Or any magic Peo, how oa he x2 so incredibly x-strang. Ronan kept his hat how. X2 reeling farum yacht hit play of Peo, 10 do oat Ronan, CM attend my classes Ronan blinked. Am I allowed to? But do teach me a freshman. Nibiru's turned owie, my palming is enough. But on own condition, LIP yacht, Jang's out, Taimu flew by, and the Akamis fax to break finally a Ronan ton his front about Nibiru's. They headed to the Oat Shy of Ton to the Grenta Roin families, blacksmith, exp, he o a rargi to buy but on they arrive. Axum looked at the plaques. A skeptic really a nabs blacksmith exp, it LSC lay a stiff breeze would knock it Ronan Brecca into a nervous sweat. Ellen's get go inside Enza, my LSC lay a dump outs, but who knows? It might be even worse. These yacht guy an idiot. Jitplexa is seviret in dust and cobwebs. It doesn't LSC ninathan lay a roin but actually she's navutana lay. Get. As Lauren and away wandering, a massive claw suddenly reached El Farah, who's disturbing my exilip. Then an eighth, the werewolf emerged, sizing up the crowd, a malicious glare. Ode do doing here, Tanagai exilip in pit during Axum away instantly terrified, even Lauren and away a bit surprised. The blacksmith away actually a werewolf. Seen yacht no own, away the werewolf grew more menacing. A dude deaf? Lauren then reached foe the badge. Yet Su then explained that he intent to buy his out. The werewolf glanced at it. Jit is the Grancha family Kurt. Not bad, but do pip aren't far am the Grancha family. Especially Jit pin-haired own. He doesn't have a shing ntb zen in his. The werewolf began to him see chi thin zo olt if do have the zu rm memb of the Grancha family. Winley serve the Granchas. Erda yawn, he prepared to het bse to X, but then he suddenly stopped. He looked at Axamert, a greedy expression. How about Jit condition instead? Give me own of Jit softies am. To play then AB I'll agree to sell do is out. Axum Oa paralyzed few without waiting for Lornan's consent. The werewolf began to approach Axum XTG. He failed to teach Lornan's gaze. Unch Oa already thin Urzula killing high. Lornan lunged at the werewolf. His out. The strike sent him flying BSC Xvad. A sensation in his hen away exchange. It felt as though it had been deflected by Z looking up. He X the werewolf hat somehow donned invisible armor. Though it blocked the strike, the overwhelming foot. X2-minute guide to break the werewolf's rib. Invisible armor? Thane. Then I'll get shatter it. The werewolf Oa terrified upon he quickly explained it. Oa get a tet. A simple tet foe on you fei. To tet yo strength and the durability of my armor. So I provoked do on pot. Lornan Cleali didn't buy. Yet, LM excuse. Do su a quedge yo lay. Seeing Jit, the werewolf continued to bet finally he suggested jocking Su leaf indirectly. Anch allowed him to avoid Desauvre Lornan didn't top bict. He believed him. It Oa bict. Hey get Zulith and Zai. Lornan then sheathed his out. The werewolf smiled and apologized to Axum. Actually, I'm not Hyaman, and Didakin, the apprentice here. Do our here fo Aza Alti, which he do to the forge. Jit is get the entrance. The werewolf then let everyone inside. And pressed a hit conjute. The mom he pressed it, the bronze shook violently. Then it began to sink rapidly. It turned Aki Oa a hit connects pack the reinforged Habagaxia. Oa lacked it, in the largest forge in the Empeo. The werewolf grinned at Lornan. Since you've passed my tet. I'll teach ye ket of yo weapon personally. Get mom biffo. Let by the werewolf Lornan and his GURP. Arrived at Jit 400 Dian, blacksmith ex Capagaxia. Seeing Lornan's exceptional town, the werewolf decided to teach him to the end dwarf Doran. Rumor ha the Matus knit F 400 years of Aperian. Money of the impious Mtugfikrasuai. The werewolf proudly introduced him to everyone. Zun, they arrived at the ko. Fo such a shinyo figure. I have the utmost respect. Yacht, the werewolf kicked the co-wide PPN. Lornan Oa speechless. Jit guy Oa, even more fun of it than he then. The werewolf strutted inside lay he owned the plexa. And man I brought guests. Lit, did he know the blacksmith's fey Oa fun of murderous Didikins? Do bract. Can't do ever see him in without macking a scene? Didn't I tend to xty, why quite oba the werewolf get he tilted his chin up. And probably announced yacht his guest Oa Ginit. The blacksmith's interest Oa peaked at those oct. He immediately stopped his use, you see and walked. The werewolf pointed at Lornan and behane. It's him, his swordsmanship you and definitely surprised do. But looking at Lornan's youthful fey. The blacksmith Cleali didn't believe it, so he suggested, yacht Lornan give a demonstration. Lornan agreed, but as soon as he the in-man snatched it out. The in-man stared at the zoutfo a few seconds. Then shattered it, hurt. A shing. Lornan's fey went GAC at Jizzy. Oa the blot head picked far. The amity PP and Juan Gizer Uthaman. Do you even know Odur doing? The in-man simply pointed in a random direction. A piece of Junlei yacht. I can't gut yo skill. The swords here a thousand high beats. Hick any own do lay and it's yours so do Han Fu cheated. Lornan Oa stunned. He picked up a zout yacht. CT, his a. The mom he gripped it. He immediately felt a hip front. However, he wasn't Su, if his zout techniques. Would SA such a matu he friend men hail firmed he have to pifo any damage Lornan lightly swung the mithrils out, assuming a combat stance. He always gang to used Neberos technique, even without mana infusion, and though it pale might be lacking, the Mamlonan unleashed his strike. A distant boiler exploded instantly, the destructive fought along it pat. Oa fa bion o Lornan oa stangent, I didn't mean to do yacht. Do you believe me? The N-man sighed helplessly. He had already Zatehead be no chart, but truly surprised the N-man. Oa yacht did kit. Oa actually using Neberos swordsmanship. He asked Lornan if he Oa his apprentice. Lornan Oa surprised. You know him too. The N-man nodded. His neck shocked Lornan even more. It turned a Neberos blot, the secret blot uxa. O aeon of the N-man's few masterpieces. He ton Lornan, yacht the quantity of his out. Can see chi. Sometimes they've been affecting the overjudgment of Yo and Peo. He gave Lornan a jaunt pat on the BSE. To be honest, it's been years since a Shinna town lay yours. But having too much potential can also be a problem. It means feign a suitable weapon you and be difficult. Facts do, the materials fo the forge a and etsu. Even jet mithrils out can't handle Yo Peo. So hake materials on TB used. To assist in the forging jet that Lornan searched through his pocket fo a mold as a memthe oa the zen of the blue beans egg. Lornan hadn't been able to bring him to it on hunimit away. Zemanthan xb N-men took the zen and began to strike it his ham, yet the zan didn't sa a shingcrack. The N-man's AI lit up. Jit is the ultimate matterine fo a gertz out. Can I use kit? Lornan nodded. The eggshell oa useless to him no anyway. CMBSE and 2 Ayuan havu the finest out in the impale Ragifoot. Lornan gave a satisfied smile. He called Maria and Axum, and they prepared to head home. Unexpectedly, the Ingman called Aute. I can't, and our distinguished guest, LIPM that due to go feign anal matatu give him my they'll teach you get kev do. As he spoke, the N-man wore a lessy of obsessity began frantically hammering Aoya the Oda Baitif and Sal. The trio stood key, completely stunned if N agreed yacht the M. Meanwhile, St. Gips beneath the city of Kapagaxia, two strangely girt figures appeared. They, actually plotting to destroy the entire NYT AG. Ronan visited the Empire's teen AP and commissioned a news. Unfortunately, it wouldn't be Rargi Fo delivery Fo and AOA rumored to be the finest BLGT, not the Yacht, but even Maria and Assam had ordered weapons of key and the Pri-OA gang to be steep, but they didn't main the CCT at N. They even considered buying a few more. Since the Aka Amiak Sixten Shulafan OA during the N-Fo the delivery for those 2 weeks, Ronan aimlessly oonk the Ekamia of border, but as he walked, he suddenly stopped. The luxurious sail buing hat CTT his vaguely recalled yacht Jito AU Nibiru's held his glasses had been not to written onto he had a proper weapon. So Ronan planned to onto his news out arrive. But then, Ronan suddenly felt a zen of impending doom. Nibiru's OA already standing beside him a murderous he slowly turned his head. Get Ivanin, Prophet So Nibiros. Without saying a the Prophet So immediately grabbed Ronan but has been a oe. Kit didn't I tend do. To ripped to clat the Momdu GGTO weapon, Ronan tried to see him up and spent Nibiros wouldn't give him the cham. He dragged him straight toward the classroom. Cheap do feign an excuse can do please, Lanko faxa to motion they kazoo. CCT the attention of a long-haired GN nearby. She didn't realize. The guy behind HOA already luckily intentionally slammed his bogey into HO of the UE movie. Confused and unsure OGN bowed 8 het, but yet only eyes MG him gawa agresura as lao as a 2. Go prick the yo lessons if do havu taimu, okay. The Lusk didn't own to cause a scene, so she chose to swallow each pride. She shouldn't have had the chan to enroll Hyara. I'm leaving no. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Ronan and Nibiros arrived at the Trenin room. I assume do and recognize him, the freshman who stole the essay at the tournament. His N is Ronan. The voice you selected has me join on your language. Ronan gave his like the opera freshman to farm to the Gettables and as Ronan, Nixo to MIT do Shenia. The students began whispering loudly among themselves. Is he really yacht extrang? He LSE pre-week to me. Ronan HT every shing But fortunately, not everyone OA hostile. Ki to friendly, familiar faithlessum the ACA UE, even Shulifin OA ki. Get as they akabot to extat prictic. A GM pushed PP and the co, and so exery, Prophet so IML la IOA handling some emergencies. Own Rona and HTH voy, a uvo of familiarity washed F yat voy, but Nibiros didn't main. Go TGA rart fo amom. Then he pointed toward Ronan. We get finished introducing a new Ixton. Goes I hello to him. The GN walked F to him. Neek so to MIT do Ronan, in the sophomore clat, X6 Anderson, but Ronan gets stared at H blankly. He nevua to MIT Anderson lay G tagen. At illusion? During the giant invasion, she displayed unparalleled leadership. She owe the empire's fax to female Kaminga, known fo h and thin yun holda h, the air on lahi, who thought she had such a jaunt to shy. But judging by the situation, she had no memory of H patish was hen him about H reeked BSC then, but how CCTI even explain it? Ronan looked at Anderson, LST in his thoughts. Meanwhile she oe kept busy. Own, X-Ton asked, is Anil complainer ya a rate towels? She had to, hayu hum o Ronan oe dumbfounded. My Gert Kamenka comrade. Doing menial tasks lay a servant? Get, then, the guy who oe bullying Anderson approached. Freshman, you've been standing kia oe. How about a duel? Seeing Ronan's confusion, he explained further. I'm Carden, a junio. IHT do performed own in the tournament. If the run could true, I did late to lane a thing ard to fuck. Ronan wasn't interested. He politely declined. But the guy wouldn't teach he the hint. Oh, I hans him to have my weapon. He shouted at Anderson. Hey. Lusk, go fetch my pricked spear. Own Anderson, HT Quitia complied. Ronan's face darkened rage. Lusk, yop bastard. He any idea who Anderson's on returned his lawn spear. But Carden sneered, do idiot. If switched it to a ST Sidir do know, he ignored H apology. And slammed the spear hat again. Heh do nigi GT, and here through truth do can do is handle Jizu chores. Right then. Ronan grabbed the spear. He glared at him, murderous and I accept, Ellen's duel. But Carden away to oblivious to the danger, he continued to insult the two of him, Warandu refusing to halt me its Fojit Lusk. Aishi, is it a KNT of two peasants sicking tagag? Biffo he seat. Ronan tossed the spear BSE at him, then a flake of his zout. Carden, a sent flying 10 fit awi. The spear in his hand snapped into it. No st. Ronan remarked, isn't jit the st spear do wanted? Do lay it? Carden absolutely furious. He 2 years older than Ronan. He NTB yacht. Commoners weren't fit to tea. How he humiliate him laja. He went na. Lunging fout, the break Ronan waded onto the lot. Heenley moved on the spear away about to hit. A casual Zion. The st spear shattered into 3 pieces. Ronan completely overwhelmed him. Carden left set. Then tame strike apt to strike on to 3. Ich landed, massive foot. Carden instantly knocked unconscious. Ronan's anger x2 hadn't faded. Duar liki were in the Ekaami. If we outside, dud be jet. Be onlookers left in Tatten shock. Carden hat actually LST own of the 10 pranked upperclassmen. Then Ronan walked toward the others. Baked Chizu guys, hat also treated the Kamenka, lay a servant. Ronan had no intention of letting him go. Neck is the brat who rude about the towel. If it smells, haunt do it. Ronan spoke, as he stormed toward the GN. Is the X16 yo servant? Or oat? The Zate terrified the GN. Fortunately, Angzon spoke up to X-top it. He then stepped in front of Ronan to shoo him. Without memory of his past lay, Angzon couldn't would ZMON hey gitmet, go to such girt lengths, fo a common and orin so much Ronan spoke slowly, emphasizing every e. Anyone can be insulted, even me. But nav you do. Ronan recalled the Gert Kamenka, Faram his past lay, and his legendary activit during the Tingjit that Heyo, at the very early on is allowed to disrespect Heaven's Day his peace. He dauntlessly pushed Angsos the GNOA Farazan in Fua Githagan. Neberos voy rang X16 Ronan. A terrifying, overwhelming pretzes followed his oct, instantly rooting Ronan to the spot. It wasn't yet he didn't obey his vogi simply refused to obey. It a primal dread raising far and gip lay bind pinned how by the gaze of a massive 8-foot serpent. Angson then looked at Ronan authority. I can and the matter Calden but do MTX top jit at own. Ronan frustrated by Neberos in action. He struggled and his might strained to foot his bogey to MUV, but Nibiru's Ryman indifferent. Kip and his AI locked onto Ronan. Owning do own lot Timo you industan howarna. Ronan didn't flinch, and il zai it agon. Nibiru sighed, feeling somewhat helpless. Then I have no choice but to subdue Duthak. The girt serpent opened its massive maw. And Ronan felt a Vyog impact on the BSC of his head. He opened his AI at Ixangson the Kamanka farm his past lay. He had taken command of the Fern lay without hesitation, knowing Fun own yacht no own key would survive. Yet he willing to sacrifice himself for the MP. Ronan blinked. And the scene shifted again. It the Fane own the 800 million titans. Angson turned to Ronan a smile. Please Nevu forgive me. Bick? I am selfishly leaving the aunt of entirely to do Unipanich. Ronan cried the Kaminghas n. Lee to realize it oa in a crim, but on he turned his hat. Angson oa actually standing right key, looking at him gip concern. Did do have you innate jit oa the aura of the awakened Nibiros. The pret says it radiated away so imeth yet, its CT paralyze any living creep but to aid bict, a freshman rode and resisted. Nibiro's hat unleashed it instinctively out of a key oa no doubt as it for yo oa here jit Ronan, who shared a certain resemblance oa the strongest swordsman Nibiro's hat ever met. Apt to activating his aura. Nibiru CCT clearly fuit. Ronan wasn't able to have even aimed his zout at Nebiros neck. Luckily at Yetmom, Nibiru successfully knocked Ronan L. Angson then took him to the ex-con and faxed thing Ronan did upon waking OATXC60 about Angson. Do okay. The voice you selected does not Gert Kornen's language. Ode do teasing log on and secondly remembered which to Anison hat no mamari of his path. He's CCT manage and off anyway. Up do ya angry bict of me. Rona's face turned bright red. No, I'm a perfectly elegant gentleman. If get hated yacht I of behavior since I obey Angson X rate through the lay. Really, do hauntnet to Hunagraf not even Calden. I brought jit on mixin. Ronan felt a flight of anger. I can't and hem even pratu yon the bureaus. Do give jit geopio n? Yet he didn't teen thin oe do e2. Angson CTT ni man and trafutil in the bureaus is a get px. The reason he didn't add is bict. I asked him not to. To got into jit course. On MT be a guinea but my skills haven't improved in a die. And if me get begun to grasp magic, he oa the owen who gave me jitchen. I han a grudge at it. Actually I should thank him. Ronan oa taken aback. And keep previous lay. Angzon's Prasian had been staggeringly powerful. Did even ZMON lay him face such panhandle Jazulik thin, but thank do regardless. I'm used to MT of it by no Ronan. Though I really hurt to got hit. Ronan fell silent foe a few seconds. Maybe hots oe do, able to go so far. To eventually become the Gert Kamenka. Angson froze. How did you know? Yat oh my did I let it slip? I know it's incredibly difficult but I'm getting to UCC as Ronan oa left speechless thinking he had sounded arrogant. Angson began to explain himself in a panic. I know it sounds unrealistic, but I definitely give up. Of Riven I do as Foyat done. As he spoke, Angson looked how at his own poems. They severed in scars for Trenin, but he didn't realize his hat left Ronan facing an impassable dilemma. On on han oa Angzon's dying irks handling Ronan to warn his past Zemta to stop chasing the crim of becoming Kameh it oa btu to get on the ACA has looking at jit version of him so turn into Riven's high rank. Ronan couldn't bring himself to see cert even Api's rank son hat left. Ronan had an zeta he didn't know of the rate muvoa. It felt like any Troy he mt would be at midnight. Doran sent a pigeon to his house, telling Ronan to pick up an item at Kapagax. By own they arrived at the smithy. Key wasn't an X-key to greet him, a bit annoyed. Ronan kicked a helmet across the fiolo. Maria noticed that own Samanthan, oa Clail Ronan didn't own to Anta any longer, so he decided to get head in, apt to hitting some random buttons. He actually manic guide to feign the Alavat a sudden shudder. The Alavatu began to descend, but as he stepped Ronan Kapagaxia oa a scene of massive feo oa raging avrio numerous blacksmiths lay collapsed on the ground, alerted by SM. Ronan immediately exped out the corporate. An eighth, then X-Tan Golem, oa chasing Aptu a group of blacksmith. Ronan thought foe X-Split grabs Assam, Anton Maria. To head BSE to the Akami fold. Then Ronan leaped out into the fray. Beside him, Assam used telekinesis, tis Lao key descent. Elsewhere, the blacksmiths had been Ronan foe ev the finally too exhausted to go seeing jet the X and grazed it massive fists, preparing to Caesar blacksmiths to jet yacht critical mom. Ronan delivered a zoop slap sharing the golem's arm rate pp. I've been in a baton T lately anyway. So I'll get teachy it, undo. The golem retaliated it remained but get as the blah away about to land. Ronan vanished far mu he stood. He had activated his aura, appearing on the golem's show in an inkstnen. He followed up a clean decisive strike. In yacht the golem's heavy armor seemed as flimsy as pph disintegrating entirely. The rescued blacksmiths watched in disbelief. His air went wide shock. Though a kid his why? How CCT? Hey own shot X born and lulzite onto the remains, asking the on-man oat hat he learned from. The voice you selected does dozens of X-language and suddenly these Riflet Faberay immediately began a mindless rampage daring teen thin in Keepat. Worse yet, Baven kidnapped the blacksmiths, including Doran, the man fixing Lornan's blot. Didikin had already gone to his view, but even though Hayes met to meet, Hayes no fatu, Lornan sensed trouble immediately. He ordered Assam and Sita to exte behane and tend to the wounded. Then you I do gang, Assam's poorly timed kuchin. blurted Ao. Lornan turned Aoi, heading toward the golem's retreat. He looked BSC speechless. Obviously he had to vu Doran. Mainly bicked, the man x2 half meanwhile gets ungaron. Doran clung tightly to his rope. I'm grateful du came for me. But du really shouldn't have standing in front of him Oa Didikin. He Oa already gravely injured, yet he x2 shielded the man. Golems, do and fun x stop talking and run. But the man get stood key, days you'll invisible armor on UCC on him. Didikin snapped at him. Thin already bad enough. Do have to be so discouraged in I hen know it's useless. If du are so son that dijak yat zao dur hinwin, that the man held it even tighter. No, did is my masterpiece. Ian's insulted, my pathetic swordsmanship. He spoke a LSC of, pidu away at a loss fo oct, jit weaponups and coot. Oh a ging to got hum, but yet then? The golem, tired of key bickering, raised it fists and slammed him out at the strike. OACCT hatten by Didikin. It dealt him a heavy blow, even zattering his invisible armor. As Didikin braced foe the end. A rat flet arrived impatsiba expit. A flurry of slashes erupted, and the golem instantly crumbled to pieces. Lornan landed gracefully. El Tichiat farum hia, Didikin gasped, how did do? Got hia, warren key dozens of golems. Lornan glanced as humbly noting made and being handled. Is yat even possible? Couldn't even bit own. Hearing jit. Didikin suddenly became as docile as a populous howlicky to have who survived an angry Lornan biffo. Give it to me? Your masterpiece belongs to me, doesn't it? All right, Inik, exactly, the man replied, though he oa incredibly reluctant to ellen go. Hiya, but the scabbard isn't finished yet. It oa truly the impious scrat ball noia ppnch. It felt weightless in his hand. Timucha peeped it to the tep, facing X-Farge and H10 golems. Lornan casually unleashed a Uvo of his out. The shad destructive foot pulverized him instantly. Lornan froze in surprise. High CCT it possessed such peo, the N-man's expression. Zoan get how proud he oa of his UC. Lornan. Do lalila munka. Hots the NIGGT farm the stars. The N-man's grin turned a bit mischievous. Jitblot is practically weightless. Yet it's 100 tai heka, then nithril. Not liat. Iha expects some trait, it can even regenerate own it taste blate. In st without oa ppnch mach fo Lornan. Head navu havu abahirgoth next tie damaging the BLGT. Lornan showered the A-man praise. Unch mt his entire UCC recognized. The man's reason fo livin'. But Didikin interrupted him. No isn't the time fo bragging we knit to got of. Here, but Lornan ignored him, heading even deeper into the cavern to chivi and man and go. Yes, a pack of rats, how here. And they're big ones. Didikin looked confused. Rats, Oda do talking about. Lornan walked to where the golem remains. I know how extend golems behave. They navu hun in packs, and a hunt at humans, unprovoked. He flipped Ev a piece of debris, revealing a mysterious symbol on the golem's hat. Everyone always stunned. A pattern lay G. I knew even to Doran, who owe 400 years, but he always certain of own thing. The Mac X2 resonated magic. ZMONOA using Jeet method to rival the extend golems into a frenzy. Who to do thin would do jit. Lornan shook his head. I hunt no, but if I had deeper inside, I'll definitely feign him. Yacht Lornan's at PP. He moved quickly into the depths, carefully scouting his surroundings. Sue enough, neck to the golem tracks. Hey, XP out high men footprint to hip friend sets of prints. Let further ahead, Lornan even found Manic Sing Sing X10, but since he lacked magic himself, the alarm wouldn't trigger. Zun, Lornan reached the hat of the cave. He stayed quiet to avoid detection, instinctively concealing his Prasian as he surveyed the area. The facts to thing he OA a massive gone X10 golem, be lowed a to higham lacking figures, though they seemed XEMT. Compared to the Gnung golem, the regular ones looked lay toys. It OA currently dormant, but it peo would be unimaginable. Oe Lornan planned his neck muv. The he Oe spoke. ZMON MT havu bao contra of the golems. Is bind CTPP own by own. A third patty had definitely intervened. The man in Oe gritted his teeth. Should we do? The ACA golems are gone. Enjit own isn't Ragi yet. Should we get go up and finish him? The he immediately shook. HET, no. MT of the Forges facilities are destroyed. The impious metallurgy and weaponsmith UNB's at BSE full he's enough phone no. If identities at attrips out. Yat, PX gen. Get sit. The man grumbled a few complaints. But, in the end he agreed. Yeah, a temporary retreat oa bet right then. The scent of sulfur on Lornan. CCT Kia Tankson, it oa residue far the golems, h's no enku I felt an itch, the man turned. And launched a GRGT fireball at Leonet oa about to hit. Did Lornan react? Apt to the explosion cleared, the man realized head missed. A quetchlik brat, do? How about I fit do up fax do? He immediately cat no spell. Chains of fire instantly surrounded Lornan. Such incredible cat and expert, Jizutu, definitely not, Temi kit to a do. And how did you bypass owl sensors? Unless do own to an up roasted. Luana stooped BSE up, ignoring the encroaching flood. That's exactly I wanted hella do pesi I hans cat how close due to a. Give me yo names. Luana's aggressive stance instantly piqued the man in Oa's interest. Right, Jet is you, the fan begins. We're get wasting time The in Oe spoke up, but the man didn't cat and. Let's enjoy ourselves Oe we extucan. Onjit Mpeo is swallowed by extale. Ki unbe anoojand. Hit Luanan's nerve perfectly. Bikt, the giants who own invited Usia, same phrase about being swallowed by it seemed they knew more than they letting on. Luanan decided to chi him both in faux questioning. The man get looked at him disdain. A brat lay do. Then do have loaded to he raised his arm rargi to strike BSE. Yat shengim uv, the fang straw foe Luanan's patience. In a flight of ken ek man lst his arm and his entire laboji. Get x day how. The Omian Oe froze you she stood. Tut, he didn't even have Utaimu to react. As Foduong he didn't through the sensation of cutting through Bon. Jizu to Kliali Warren Hyaman. But in his rage he didn't ca. He lunged Falp. And grabbed him. Get answer my question, Hadla Hale? Unless do own to end up get lay him, no, talk. Realizing she couldn't break fear, Hillier immediately cat a magic shoe. To blat Luananawi. So do hum plan on cooperating. Luanan tapped the shoe mockingly. Not bad, it's sturdy, but a mom later, Hillier away left speechless. A sudden flood of his BL'd and shoe shattered into pieces. Impatsiba, how can a physican strike affect magic? Befo CT even proxed Luana's zelt hat already pierced H bogey. The Viog movem mo kazu H hot to fall BSE, revealing a fey as delicate as a doll's. NH Lun, pointed ears, but yat didn't interest Luanan. He pinned him, Howart, his fat, a hapulf? It exactly, is Yoga Luanan's fun a tankson, OA on the he failed to teach, the massive fireball hurtling toward his BSE. It owed less than 2 meters out. Luana reacted instantly, slashing the Akia aside and lucking ahead. Etut, whose limbs had been severed, no regenerating his body. Or more accurately, dozens of wriggling tentacles, iki mimicking his limbs, the zay oainteen thin st of revolting. El Ingo of Veta glared at Luanan pure rage, he seemed to care deeply Fothium. Luana Gijiti the midsagio, he calmly pulled his Zao Ao, but less than 3 seconds later he drove the blot right into H thigh. It seems do X do haunt understand the situation. Neither of do is ging anywhere. Yeah, he pulled the blot searing pain. And but Luana's gaze did anger on a H foe even at exec he stared straight at Edita. I'll give due to choices, either CM me quietly or Ellen jit lit elf tido it's late to lace H limbs. She doesn't have your regeneration, Jishi and it trembled fury. But finally he lowered his head. He extinguished the flames in his hen. Fame, Elgo do Luana nodded, satisfied. It would be a hassle if Du actually died. Luana then turned his gaze toward Hillier. Need to feign, grinning Leia maniac. Luana looked on, confused. He didn't need to, the Gnun Bolem's arm behind him. Already swinging toward him, did yak got ki oa to LGT to hug yo. He had to teach the Blehetten. The massive impact sent him flying dozens of meters. Despite the payo of the hit, both of them knew it wouldn't be enough to cure a Mengs to lay him. Eta dragged his clumsy bogey. F to Hillier. Can do X to Ok? Hain nodded. Thank do distracted him. Lon enough foamy to teachy contra of the goal. Even if it oa get own arm, Hayes definitely hurt badly. Ita agreed. Het bse to the Checha rivax the situation to me. Alpha la owen if finished him peep Hillier nodded. Get be careful, Hayes a Mengs to erdich highs fey. I know. Be reckless agat. Before he CT finishes sent Echuth's limbs ox sliced apart Onma, Luana and appeared before him agan. A flurry of slashes followed. Shredding A2D to pieces. You do Thindor gang didn't I tend do? I have you too many questions. Hillier backed owie, trembling in terror. She frantically pulled a scroll to cat a spet. Luana forced his battered bogey fout. He approached HXTG baguette as he did. Hillier's binding magic took hun. Luanan couldn't teachy ano xt struggled of rithan he had, but he away completely farazen. Hillier x, the spell ucc. But she x didn't he got close. I not su we see tu inja. Reporting BSC is my priority. A portal opened up behind h. She away about to xdef elf vein rizin or yosemili. Yo lover, and yo front. And then, il teachy hath Hillier began to vanish wanting the rule desperate. Han du ki lip he finally had a lent on the giants. How cct, hey get out, hemslvi we lent ya happen again. X-top, Luana roared his la endiestring at yet momna. A extrange aura suddenly Hillier realized horror yet she too couldn't. I have plenty of questions makes Nibiru's appeared releasing a crushing pretzel. How key to lay a finger on Hillier away paralyzed few. She thought shed Sichi and easy but no she faced his imamp and found the powerful Luana. And yo timing away actually key get. Luana Menikayo hearing him from Nibiru's felt relieved. If he can do talk biasi, then he is probably not going to Kai. He turned his attention to Hillier. No, Elen's oncome, I'll guessed. Who the hell is Jit guy? His aura is so heavy I can't even she shutler few shooting buddy on Neska exekna. A slender hen reached off behane. He clamped how hat on H fei. Attacking the smithy is a Quayo and Zichimi truly angry. Is Yatdu dared to hurt my exton? Nibiru zate, his grip tightening even felsif out too. Oats can be roughly forced Hillier's pale fei uplet straight into the pat of Yatso exorient. Extele whispered. Hillier collapsed instantly. It shattered by the overwhelming impact. The mentum blow oe vachan oe and the silence returned. She didn't stand a chan. Those Mt Ronan, even more certain. The appearance of the giant oe definitely link it to Jabiro sheathed his out, and walked up duded on. Al rip, beat yo achievements separate but yat wasn't Oat Ronan oe worried about, Oat do get Zadabot Oat's neck, a do sending him to Rodonan prison? Nibiru's nodded. I believe so. It seems duv ht of yat plus renhao Ronan spine. Bikt, Rodonan, is a prison flutin on the she of longevity. Rumor says the screams ki novu x-top. The jailers used every means necessary to break the impious traitors. Almost no own lipi yat plaxa and listen to me that too. Ronan slowly stood up. Please, ni attend the interrogator. Jiros refused immediately. He feared such a cruel plaxa. What A.P. Ronan scarred. Please, Jit is really important to me. Rona's voice almost pleading. He couldn't afford to MIT even a show regarding the giants. Nibiru's looked at Ronan in silence. Jit away the facts to shin them pro kit bow his head, but even so, Nibiru's extu wouldn't agree. Meanwhile, at the Kapagaxia forge, though it oakes to a pilk of rubble, Earthiakami's haychip. The wounded eight mostly recovered. I think we're almost finished. Maria's eight, wiping sweat from H brow. Sita, who CCT carry 8 Craig has enol massive A-chip. Aslem and Sita can get us hat to treat the injured. They know completely out of mana, but more than yacht. Aslem oa worried about Ronan. Hey, Zate head be rate BSE, but it's been 2 na hapao. A do talking about me, the two of them jumped in surprise. They looked up toward the voy. It oa Ronan. IAT about do guys did on my Maria brought reinforcements, and Aslem and Sita's vu, the wounded. Is anyone hurt? Ronan asked, acting lang thin oa wrong. Navu mana Stu should be more worried about Yoksip. Maria Zate as she walked toward him. Aslem scolded Ronan a trembling voy. Duer Seviret in wounds, quetch, Sita, Ajapim. Sita worriedly reached LHXEMT, but Ronan waved H owie. I'm Fang, if already been treated. I get neat to our GTA bit. Ronan Zate then suddenly changed his tone, glaring at the two culprits in the lit stand. Besides, I have a more important thing to do. A few hours later, the prisoner convoy reached the rendezvous point. The voice you select Ronan officials will ride language each the cruffies clicked the up the barrows and Ronan switched to another voice. Bithel a grim jailer arrived on his mon. Two equally eerie figures stepped out. They spoke in a haunting tone. Greetings, MIT Nibiros. He looked out at the two prisoners. Edit immediately CCT his interest. It seemed Jidong Han Krebel Zemfwiling Payu. The interrogators UNB very pleased. Up to him, it's been a long since we've had such an intrintin toy. They prepared to LIP the two. Only interrogation is can we UN titified, we hep do. Continue to UCC foe the impious pit those fein oct. The jailers vanished 4M8. In a unch, Rodon and UN havu brick in him. We havu results. I UN immediate form do is yet enough. Ronan nodded, satisfied. Thank do Matu. He understood. Jit away the MT Nibiros, CT do, up to ya. Ronan returned to Philip's Akaami to Tran. Repairs at Kapagaxia, underway his own. A few K pass quickly. Inside Radonam Prison, the screams relentless. Ap to unch of Kwanliti Karaka oe certain, yat etat hat confessed, of Rithan, so, he summoned Nibiros. Do own Tizai the prisoner Agat. Please follow me, I'll give do the results on the UA. Karaka spoke refined poise. He then let the two. Toward Echut Zen. Ronan looked on in disbelief. Jid May mannered a man. Oe actually a Rodonan interrogator. Nibiros simply smiled. Honestly, I thought the same at facts too. But Yatman is the absolute name of everyone he wishes. Wishes for a quetch, and, namely through Jang. As they spoke, they reached the inner prison. Git then, Karaka began, the Zen is get ahead. El Kip Jit brief. Beafaram the Cragil Nebula. Yat is also the N of Ki Egunith. Nibiros looked confused. Hots the facts do if HD of him, of a syndicate lay calibro? Karaka nodded. In, Bafamod dangerous. Facts do key identities unknown. The voice you selected Niranya hours is language magic. Please click the upper right corner to us with nothing voice. MT Magia cases in the past die. Have you been traced BC to him? Ronan always stunned. If they've done so much. Oe hate hey novu HT of hem in his past larigator. Did they mention Extele, or Zamanthan lay, Extele descends? Karaka always surprised. Hod's new to me. Ronan scratched his head awkwardly. He had to explain. Yat, atiad zait it on hey oek yafik, infarm the fuge. In 10 years, winged invaders you and arrive. They're the ones who used Yat. No one would believe such a story. He thought Yat would be the end of it. But Karaka's expression darkened. Ronan continued. I think it relates to Ki Gun. So do haven't gotten Yat, as he spoke him. A terrifying aura, anti Ronan's fey ton pale. It oe kamen farum Karaka. He immediately peeped on his bane-shaped MZs and walked straight into Echud's Zen. It seems our friend hasn't been entirely honest. I should probably aim sincere. The voice you selected does no Zen world is always slowly open. Please cause 8 left Ryan Swoonilla to switch to another voice. The two who own so arrogant, no mangled by own recognition. Lee faint moans proved they eek to a lot. Hiraka stepped toward him. Ao Atot is a fascinating friend. He uses a unique GAC magic to regenerate. He picked up a Ritho Aaron. Do know how to got through to Piplay Jezebel? Do kept stabbing him. Onto they can no longer regenerate. Hiraka plunged the airing into him. Etat CT Li X Gren in Agon. Onto he away on the brink of John Li then did he X. She were becoming close. At least hots how I foo. But as Karaka spoke, suddenly he changed the subject, thinking about how Jeet Guy Oa X I makes and deeply French shit in a kip zegrit far mich hunt do know ya. But each would cried claiming he always sobbing yacht. He hadn't. Karaka was hein. He turned the man's head toward Ronan. Then is Jit the facts do of HT of Euzali decide prefer Jit convex and ends do. Rather than sharing. Big if he got the same it'll likely cure him. Yacht he turned his gaze to Shirin. Pu Oa already trembling uncontrollably. He Oa desperately pleading. But gan him to get cure him already. Ronan Oa a bit stunned by the sin havu cm to Jit. They shouldn't have any reason to hide nings. You see tia be yacht it's not yacht they hunt on it. But yacht they physically they can't sigh of sealing curse or magic and constraint. Realization suddenly dawned on Karaka. He immediately headed for the exit. UGT here I need to go grab Zemet. Minutes later, Karaka returned carrying Zemet and exchange you. It Oa an ugly eyeball object. As it turns a jet so say AI. Unch feeds on Hyam and curses. Karaka toyed if fo amom no. Then he approached Atiat. Elens begin. Those he placed the curse AI on the man's forehead. Instantly, countless tentacles sprouted Faram the AI, burrowing Gip into Echud's skull. He screamed in agony Faram the intense pain. 2 minutes later, the curse AI turned blue. Jit signaled yep the extraction away complete. Karaka spoke up Agon. Il atxe is the Extele descent eta oa gasping heavily fo e. Extele is an eternal bind. His bolt sin, Yuan's view and the weak in Jidlan. Sharon laughed at the salviat. He quickly tend the man to extazana fo Shiren's shock. Edit had no choice but to keep talking. The Extele descent is our lifelong gun. We Yuan eliminate and also await his arrave to and yacht talk. It oa ex dude to vague foe and en man lay Karaka. So Dur saying Zamanthan is Kamen right? Antub nodded. The Chiwan of the XTA, upon hearing those a yuvo of disgust washed Evronan. He Oa talking about the giant, Ahayot, Jit Oe, an AI capable of absorbing any curse, yet it exploded the mom, it touched Ronan. Jit shocked everyone present. But only Ronan knew Oe, a powerful curse dwelled in him, restraining his magic lay a demon. The voice you selected does not following witness lighters intimate grief. Please clear the half right reveal just to another news. But as foe the giant, he had Ryman stubbornly silent. Ronan suspected a curse Oe restricting his speech. Sue enough. Earth the 8 ship of the curse AI Etad revealed key ultimate done. To clear the UE foe the giants, and ensure key a Ravenona at yacht. Rona's CCT no longer hide his rage, though they F the ones who destroyed the MPO in his past lay. Ronan stepped out, on Paxo at a Titan jit. The Inquisitor urged him to extate, but Ronan simply stopped in fern of Etad, and took a gip breath. By chew enough the XDA do min a hiot, haunt do, upon hearing the An Etchut's entire bogey tensed up. You did do high, yeah? How CCT do possibly if OH of CT kuchen him further. His forehead began to swell rapidly. 10 seconds, his head looked lay a balin on the vagayo of bursting. Ronan Oe CCT is a ging to pop, Gopi SE, Karaka shouted, pulling Ronan Owie. He immediately deployed a magic shoe. At yacht exact mom, Etchut's head explit, and go splattered agon, the barayu the shoe held, blocking it in. Then, a steady void drifted far and beneath the Inquisitor's MC. I didn't expect it to see him to jit. The curse is even stronger than I imagined. And key might be more than my god is yacht the fax to layer prevents him from revealing key gun. And if yacht layer is removed, it activates a X second cur. Say yacht, Msich, Bithel Ronan CCT, even Pravhan on his show tightened it grip. No then, X Ronan Otekli is a hiot, Karaka asked, staring him. How? If hot's a Zikrit of the Clay's Nebula. How did you happen to know it? He began to gather his magic as he spoke. As the Inquisitor of GKNT, I am T Noah of Rithan. So Ketuten me? Ronan Oe startled by the sudden tension. But he answered calmly. I get happen to overhear it. In the tunnels of Capagaxia, I owe the facts to own to feign him. If yacht N is a problem fo do, then I apologize. Ronan brushed PP the hen yacht Oe MDN to intimidate. Is yacht explanation enough? Looking at Ronan, Karaka froze. He didn't believe a ook of it, but his gut on him. Jitboy wouldn't have ham the impeo. Looking into his AI, I can see a fierce determination. Is it duty? Or conviction? No, it's neither. It's pew, unadulterated rage toward him. Nibiru's Hiru his zout, and stepped in. His sep, piercing AI, glared fiercely at Karaka. I do questioning my disciple, and right in front of me no less. Of course not. I owe get macking Sue. Karaka forced a smile. BTU's Yefu then Xery, rate, my apologies. Seeing the man at so submissive, Ronan Oe completely speech. I'm glad we cleared yacht up. But Ronan knew he had been in a tight spot. Bigtia unman Oe Ragi, to peeped him on trial regardless. XEM to lies curse AI, though they're usually key resilient. Karaka looked at the intact AI on the ground. Ronan, however, had his doubts about the lick thing. Is it really yacht extrang and key Kirov do LSE closely own to give it a pat, get, as Karaka Oe joking around he realized horror yacht the curse AI on his show. Hat actually turned blue, yet, MDN, it had absorbed a who's. He Oe nowhere near Sharon, so it couldn't be him. CCT at B, Karaka turned to Faye Ronan. Own I capped the shoe earlier. I touched him forward it really absorb a curse and yacht brief angst. Karaka quickly pulled the AI Aoi, and walked toward Rogi placed it in Ronan's hand. Rate Bifo key AI, the curse AI began to swell visibly. Then it suddenly exploded, ignoring Ronan's shock. Karaka grabbed his hand to examine it. It couldn't even withstand the tea? Listen to me, I think you've been cursed. Ronan Oe confused. Odon Ede do talking and Karaka began to explain. Have you ever felt restricted? Lay not being able to run, or being unable to pick up the mouth and do get a curse restricts you of our reactions. Hearing Jit, Ronan lowered his head in silence. Oe the reason he couldn't use mana? Simply bicked of the curse's restriction? Seeing his rid son, Karaka didn't prevail Ang's you haunt own to talk yet remember own thing. Jit curse is incredibly powerful, and it is thin pew malice the convaxin ended key. Ronan and Nibiru's prepared to teach he key lip. Own if breakin an of Shiren's curses obisuit and Tidifaidu. But since the curse on him is so potent, it's going to teach you some timeu. Nibiru's nodded. I understand. Get ripped BSE to me own dur. Karaka then turned his gaze toward Ronan. He watched him full along, but Ronan didn't respond. Do zim to have a lot on yo main. Lee then did Ronan snap BSE to his senses. Hit a leak. Ever since I found out about the curse. Own, Han worry too much. Karaka comforted him a jaunty expression. Duer at X10, Finlip, at the Akami, yes, an eccentric man who has studied curses deeply. He might be able to, Egyptu, Hot's prophet so secrete of the magic hibetment. As it happens, to settling the matters at Radon prison, Ronan and Nibiros departed on a rescue vessel. But the aunt of Buying Cursed refused to lip Ronan's name. To him Sichi matters worse, his AI knocking him increasingly restless. Fortunately, Zmon hat mentioned yacht prophet so secrete might have Aoi to fix it. Seeing how anxious he looked, Nibiru spoke up calmly. Jit is actually a known symptom. It means the curse inside Du is weakening. Hunt, what are you? Did you really not know who cursed Du? Rona shook his head. He couldn't imagine who would do such a thing. He usually so amiable, so at Sayat it seemed impassible foe anyone to hunt a grudge. Nibiros however begged to differ. He ccteenly quietly turned his gaze Ali as the image of Ronan pummeling Calden. Oax to vivid in his mane. Suddenly Ronan spoke up to thank him. Thank Du, Prophet So Nibiros. Du really helped me by stopping Ya, Enman. His AI absolutely terrifying. If it weren't for Du and Su, he would have dragged me in faux interrogation. He probably would have used some trump. Nibiros simply smiled and respawn. I get doing my duty as a CCT. Yes, no need to thank. Ronan looked at Nibiros. Feeling a sudden surge of respect for him, not his swordsmanship, but he also a genuinely the Mal Ronan looked at him. The BT but Zananthan extra hadn't he Shinjizu powerful figures in his path. By N rights, they should have been on the battlefield. Did Kraz do Zamanthan to him? Or did Zamanthan's on a hat no of knowing? By L Nate, they finally arrived BSE at Finlip. The very next morning, Ronan couldn't on to visit a specific plaxa, pillar pack, the magic hippenman's prickdig aria. Key, Ronan immediately expout. Ankson Nibiros, who had been waiting for he key to A-chip Ronan Fane prophet so he greeted Ronan a smile. It's been kia Oe. If it weren't for the prophet's orders, I might not have Ushen do on too much. How have Dupin his radiant glowing charisma left Ronan momentarily overwhelmed. Furthermore, Ronan x to agonizing Eviaton. How should I tend him? Do I even extat? Whatever I'll get extat, early smile. Ronan forced out an awkward grin. Lon Taimu knows I x16 how yo prun doing. Ankson blinked in surprise and slowly nodded. They're doing own. Actually, ever since yacht incident, Calden is terrified whenever he sees me. He kept screaming at me to use Gaspir. I'm not switching, it sounds bad. But it's actually Kia headache. Rona stood key stunned. He hadn't expected his XEMT CCA to LIP such a gip zikalajikan ZCO. Suddenly, Ankson changed the subject. It's T-farum yet hawar to break a curse. Ronan nodded as they walked. The voice you select I always nods poets is like with fan crafts. Please click re-upper right but as Ronan swanzo nillermy surroundings. Hey CCT already 10 how eccentric the prophet so empty. Hearing jet. Ankson CCT Li Ahara certain let it move. His peach is so unique. Yet no own outside the magic hipetman so he lost a close Junio farm, the third to Vias. Though it seems she hasn't arrived yet as the oct left his mouth hop figure suddenly appeared before him. Leia kitten. She lunged straight into Angzonzum, cooing affectionately, I miss Du. Sister Ankson, LSE a deep neo magic I learned. Ankson hugged HBE2. Lon Taimu knows I, Eli. Rona stood for reason at the Zate. Jit prepared GM. Definitely the Om who had been babbling about it. Acute and sheet BSE then. Elizabeth Diarkalusha. X-Refo the sudden reeked. Zamanthan unexpected came up. I need yo a chip fine hin profits. So meanwhile, Elizabeth ox to swooning kissing the BSE of Angzon's haunt. El do nimething fo do. Absolutely nimething. But the sudden interest in. Before she see T finish he finally noticed Ronan standing. He lay a third Yuan. As Ki AI met, both of them fell into an awkward neither expected to run into a familiar Ronan the facts due to break the Tlon Taimu knows I. The voice you selected does not support this language. Please don't let the hell right door yes we no the elded horn hide by H behavior get a mom's despite yacht. Elizabeth proceeded to L ent Ronan fout. Ap to a lon ok. They arrived in fern of an Ngzen Buin. The atmosphere grew increasingly ominous. Macking Ronan ma and moa, and easy. You're not planning to bury me here. Elius jet the price. So seeing Zamanthan I shouldn't have at those oct. Elizabeth exploded. The voice you selected does not was trying to wear do. Please clear Ekasta Ryan Falan to switch TDT as Elizabeth huffed and stomped toward the how. Ronan followed slowly behind H. It key surprising. He hadn't expected the gunner to be so close to Jit Kit. But then Agan. They both memb of the Arkaluja family kisum ex Paxon Lexen, Difo Ronan CT on Kufer. The two of them stepped inside the how. They greeted by the Zaid of an N asleep. Is she prophet so secrete? Elizabeth turned BSE to him. Relax weave x to GGT on x stepla. Ku Ronan's bewildered gaze. Elizabeth slowly approached the as she moved pathwards Crete, Shuj, yet the Zoan no signs of waking. Elizabeth raised H arm, and began to chant an incantation Hoshbaluna, yet her purum sigh. As H voice faded, a burst of pup magic instantly scattered. Lornan quickly looked how at the man, but his condition didn't zim to Changio. Suddenly the man's AI snapped peeping, his mouth gaped wide, expanding rapid. Erdemamada a lot enough to swallow to Pip. Lornan immediately stepped BSE in alarm. Elizabeth, however, rumman unusually no netfo alarm she then walked right into the man's mouth. All inside, the vayu suddenly opened up. The voice you'll enlighten does not empty a countless beeps. Please click cephalotal right corner to Lornan stood furazen at the zate. Oh, yacht plaxa get the how strange you. As Lornan stood key in shock, a voice suddenly rang ao far mb so it's due. The disciple MIT Nephiros mentioned. Do her exactly as the mom the void trailed pp Sikrik. Looking no older than Eswen or kid rate biffo Lornan. Lit guy doer key intrante it seems key ag 10 hip fern curses inside do. NYT Lornan had learned of a prophet so at the Akami who CCE T isly lip any curse. But Owen Hay and Elizabeth arrived at the prophet's fitch. They found Leah XEM teach high. Oe Lornan oa extra reeling far Elizabeth bowed H het to the chai. Greetings prophet so Sikrik. Lornan narrowed his AI at the zate. How CCT a boy who looked barely a few you possibly be a prophet so? Sikrik seemed to rit Lornan's confusion. Actually of 80 years en. I get LSE a lick younger than my Y. In trite, jit appearance is a curse itself. Lornan L ent. He hadn't expected Zemanthan so fascinating. The explanation finished. Sikrik snapped his fingers. A massive geometric magic had immediately appeared beneath Lornan's fit, followed by countless translucent characters. Facts do. Well, Lornan suppressed the urge to excrete. He stared at the symbols Ginhin far is Bodhi. Oh, he's jit thing inside me. Sikrik didn't answer. He simply murmured to himself. If Navushan such a strange you to has whose so many curses in own both and ingzen ones. Close to the zook itself, Lornan cursed non-shu his breath. Can Jizu even be solved? Normally, I'd design no curse is unbrokab, but Jitaimu, I can't be certain. Bake Jizu curse is almost entirely unknown. Even so, Sikrik decided to try a new method. Iu encrypt and imagine Ertinyo consciousness. Ki, El Prejaik, the curse Yatu Havun the Om Tic. Thane the zook of the curse binding do. NCT at how? Lornan frowned at the inkstraxingna. He didn't understand the prophet's oct, so IMT and to a crim and break the curse. But how you ain't recognize it? Del know it the mum do zayat trat, Yozikrik replied nonchalantly. He then placed his hand on Lornan's head. Tiji cat as the magic OA cat. Lornan's conscious OA threat into a unune of magic. He came to. He found himself in the middle of a foray. The further Lornan walked, the stronger the zen of familiarity away his home. How CT the curse is zook bihia, biffo Lornan CT hun as a chai slap to pulled him BSC to reality. Yat voy is so familiar. Lornan quickly turned around. Standing he away his sister Elir, as a she dashed into the how. Enfin, vax to think she did upon entering. Oe, stare at H bra ard zaning AI. So cure but Elir also puzzled. Oe did lick Lornan, exalip so much oa hazik, mama, hu looked get lay Elir. Answered smile. Think to babies knit plenty of exlit to grow up healthy. So do need to exlit ma to Elir. Spiking of binds if lick Lornan really is ill. As his big sister Dilhavu to teach, Dekelir raised HXEMT fist excitedly. Of course, El Prichim Fove, Lornan watched deep, peaceful family scene. Did I ever havu a mom legit? Lornan oe mesmerized, even forgot oe he hat siem hia. Without a doubt, Jizu uk mamari farm shortly aptu so yev baby in a cradle is me. Lornan felt leafon, I really a babion. I thought I had newly been an adult. He felt jet yui bick. His che hit mamari hat been sealed owie, and his knowledge of the unun oa limit out. However, get then, the sow of a copenning echoed. An eerie sensation instantly washed ev him. He tried to tun NLC, but found he couldn't. UV his boji. Lornan CCT, knee stare straight ahead. As a shapeless sabu slowly walked inside. The family, however, seemed delighted. Adu hamsojli, Elir even ran up to embrace it. But the Sa'u brushed H hen owie. It walked straight toward Baby Lornan. His mother assumed he always simply eager to she is chai. She smiled ent on him. The baby is right key in the cradle. The Sa'u reached it arm toward H. Whispered Oct Lornan couldn't high. In an angst, the mother's consciousness began to fade. Oh danger. Ode du top ifo she see, she collapsed into the fiolo. Licular away stunned by the zate. She didn't understand each father, oaja oadenly worried about each mother. The neck exeknan, the sabu pointed at Pam at Alir. Repeating the same sinister proxet scene jit. Sorrow and rage surged in Lornan's you bastard. Ode do doing, but oat shocked Lornan even ma oe o came ne. Through the Sias arm, countless translucent characters appeared. They uck the same curses he had found Ertin himself. A southern flat of lay, the curse away implanted into Baby Lornan. Li then did he realize, jit figure away the zook of the curse. Jit did him fu lay a vakan anyun. It felt lay a rima mari. Lornan grit his teeth. Imt cure him. Meanwhile on the outside Ozikrik's hand began to tremble uncontrollably. Despite his thorough preparation, jit nagic. A nearly draining of hot and absurdly powerful Elizabeth hat navushin the prophet so in such axtg. It's even the prophet so, oa reacting jit how money curses uck inside him. Putting aside Kishia peo. Ki bought 10 of hem in his boat. Elizabeth, oa speechless shop hin, 10 of hem. If he uck trying to lip yacht maniaton, it would explain the massive mana consumption, but Sikrik shook his head. Hat's not it. The Nembu of curses I am dealing no is actually get on. Li on the Sau stepped ao the colt. Did Lornan's restraints finally break, but Lornan didn't give checks immediately. Instead he ran to his mother and sister. He desperately tried to hem at his fingers passed right through him. Get, as despair away about to consume him, he suddenly ht the Sau faint breathing. So they uck both ex to a lie. Ronan finally breathed a sigh of relief. He fought to keep his emotions nuke contra, and xt I need have own thing to do no. And hots to Tiriak, bastard to pet he spoke. A Zhao appeared in his hen of thin olm munka. Whether GTMT Zen didn't matter Nimu. Rona swung his blot slicing the hope heap. Then he rushed. Lay a madman. Zun, the GAC figure appeared before him. The opponent stood perfectly x2. Oa as if he uck waiting for him. But the mom hate x yacht. Ronan couldn't forget he had done. To key hurt my family? You in the view forgive do. Ronan charged at the Sau and his might. Unexpectedly, Mena began to condense around the figure. A Zout manifested out of nowhere. His OA effortlessly blocked. Ronan always stuck. He hadn't expected the Sau to possess such pay, but the Reen surprise OA yet to see him. No matter how Ronan attacked, the Sau parried every blow ease. OA as if he playing him. As the backhand continued, Ronan sustained mentip wounds. Then the Sau unleashed a sudden Shing strike pierced through Ronan's chest. The expert OA so absurd he couldn't even react. Ronan collapsed to own knee. Severed in wounds, he had essentially LST his ability to but the GAC figure and Lee spared him with the Leilotsawi without lucking BS. Ronan struggled to stand up. It can't end legit. 1x2 havu so many questions Foyap. He glared intensely at the Sau. Then L and a raspy roar. Oe did do it. Judging by Illyria and Mother's reactions, Ki Oa no doubt yat he Oa his out to during Zamath as you lead do x2 havu the rate to be alphandu havu anything to Zypho you her Illyria and Mother. Do even cursed me. Can't you even bother to him, see Chimandus oct Zhao froze in his tracks. Seizing the mum, Ronan gripped his out hilt tight. Retmana swirled around the block. Then he lunged toward the Sau. Killing him, a shing stroke. If do untalk then fake got ao of my bogey. Owned the curse Oa purged, Ronan returned to the Reen Anyun. He shook his head vigorously, trying to snap him out of his intense combat xtgt. Suddenly, an envoy sounded far behind him. Did you have a pleasant trip? Ronan turned around. Before him stood a Kale King and man. But the clothes he wore, the same as Prophet So Sekrix, Ronan quickly deduced his identity. How did Yotaimu pat so quickly? It bicked, of the curse-lifting spell? Sekrix shook his hat no. It haunt him then to do to do fu any heap for no? Ronan focused his concentration. The dense, abundant mana, Tindame immediately became visible to be honest. I knew do unusual far but knows that you are even more terrifying than I imagined. Hearing Jit, the path miles of Satisfies do can no perceive mana correctly. In the time Mu Yat followed, Ronan recounted everything he had encountered. You the Prophet So every day, and the Prophet So noted it, and how to curse inside Yoboji is based on the Mari do didn't even know exists. However, Oe do so su Yat Mano yo father didn't do Zai do couldn't Zai his fey. Ronan listened to as lowered his head, and Giptha I sensed it far malaria and mother's attitude toward, but more importantly, own he oa hurting my family. I see fu a zan of profound ye oa vari stranger fill it looking bsc no, ya, mt havu being sekrik not aoa, fill-in. Then he continued to probe deeper. Ronan didn't hide a thing. He revealed of Rithan. I have no memory of my family. It's as if they completely wiped out. Sekrik took a sip of coffee. Yat explains of Erithind of your father didn't get Shen Yo senses. He scrambled Yo Mamaria's own. But through Jit curse-lifting magic, those Mamariuk accidentally brought to lay, so Yat away likely a cottage realm, you imagination, Hazamakit a Marishai Pak of Jit spell, and the feigned blood described. MT have been based on Yat at Yuskmana without even realizing it. Ronan looked how at his hen. On an away a swirling mitch of various colors, is Jit mana? Sekrik nodded. Though do can perceive it no. However, to use kit lay a normal PX gen. Dull knit to remove at least 2 mock curses, EUMB alone proxit. Baked, the curses on dua unknown and powerful, so go on hanfo tue. El tidify do on Nimrard as Sekrik closed his netbook. Ronan always stunned, without him noticing. The prophet so hat turned BSE into it. My father-in-law's condition is complicated. In Genaran its keys imalo to you. Ronan always speechless. Do MTB exhausted on the timeout. Meanwhile in the Kapagaxia Ungran, GC Grancia, having learned about the Exten Golem. Arrived at the scene in PX Gen, he looked up at the XTYM Golem. It a far larger than he had imagined, but he at it wasn't Nibiros who stopped it, but rather own of his students. Jit puzzled the GC. Outside of Mangstu. To it, possessed such a straight eye the GC oa Gippin thought, a dang man a righteous appear behind him. It, oa Darren, the GCS Plisgons you've arrived. How is the Rederaxin of the blacksmith exp? Darren answered respectfully. Of Rithin is gang smooth, it should be fully restored in a unch. Furthermore, following your orders, we've investigated those bastards. Regrettably, we found no further clues. Seeing the GC in contemplation, Darren continued. However, through Finlip, we found the location of Yacht Xton. Do so to MIC not it. I think I should. Get as he spoke. BX10 Golem's rat AI lit up. It slowly prepared to act. N of Jit, OA Shin by Darren, GC IMEXery. I delay to ATXCC. Alright, you tell Jit to the knights. He placed his hand on his out hilt, waiting for the GCS command to strike immediately, but the GC held a hen. No net, as the XN Golem's Akoe about to hit, the GC Hiru his out, they can attend to ACA matters. He Hiru his blot and slashed backward. The mom does out Ongi hit, even the massive gun Golem. Instantly obliterated, the GC sheathed his out. He turned around calmly. Ellen's go, Taimu to MIT Finlip Lik Hira. The boy opened the coat. He discovered a man filthy mena suddenly appeared at the kale. He couldn't ship but mutter a curse, but the stranger's veins suddenly bulged refulgize or LCT Yotong. Ronan didn't BSE half no Hatogo solicitors allowed here. Looking at Yoaf, you are probably not a Mechdu Elisimo Leo gatekeeper foe. As he spoke, the Jihasi mena radiating farm them grew even more intense, as if he would strike at any mame. Rid then, Ronan noticed Zimeti Oa's the mare, then extra Jew mixed into the man's mena. It felt familiar. Yet he couldn't keep Yakzen. An arm reached at RN stopped enough. It oa all fault foe intruding unannounced. It oa the GC Dalen tried to protest that he oa CTPP agate. My apologies Ronan, I apologize for my reckless behavior. I know it's rude to ATXCC that CCTI havula momnavio taimu, a refined middle-aged man blue, he spoke. And in yacht mom Ronan finally realized who he quickly nodded in agreement. Zun. The GURP arrived at Ronan's dormitory. The GC immediately produced an exquisite BCC, inside OA a brand new scabbard. OAA do gaiba mija. Ronan looked completely bewildered. The GC sipped his tea calmly. Matudorn of Kapagaxia asks Jit of me. He practically begged me on his knees. But more than yacht, I wanted to prep my ingratitude to do. The GC continued glancing at the zout by his shy. How Grancha M Kapagaxia alone tame a patna. My end blot the pat of pale OA also crafted by Matudorn. So, it's knee rate ya ap to aeon duce my appreciation. Earthos oct reached the bean to his CT, and pulled a grancha Kurt. Rona always stunned. Baked tig thing Kurt laid CCP by and the cattle in 3 villages. Ronan hat previous has oftenly got own if Shilif and LST his make. Meanwhile, Maria and Axum also received gifts far the GC. I hap they'll feign ham to key like Ronan's nodded. His CCT already imagine. The two of him bowing in absolute he suddenly zet. How his teacup. No, ens talk about Bazimantha Hindu Temi who Oabi Hangi incident? Key interested. A terrifying surge of mana erupted far him as Ronan Oa momentarily speech is jit the peo of how Grancha. Key strength? Oa truly I don't know how much doof discard but you damn rats. Even more insane than we imagined. They're running full key lives and I'm doing everything I can hearing hadget him. The veins on Dalen's face bulged. He couldn't top a glowing mana far leaking out. Rona stared, paralyzed. It seemed yet at the mere mention of those guys. Dalen fellow had a bizarre rit son. CM, to thin of the Dena, felt identical to those, ACA to back gave PP the same filthy, unsettling zo, are they ucking tagag? Seeing Ronan dazed, the GC looked confused and asked him Oib is king on Jidrid sunk his subordinate is radiating such thichmana, Kahenad Zayat, CCTA unrenowned warrior. Really be completely blind to Jit? Rona couldn't believe it. Am I the Nilion who can Zayat, to tat his theory? Rona spoke up slowly. Havu du ht of Exali the crazed nebula is the Gerp B Hainit. As Zun as he finished at Daylight AI flashed, murder yet the GCX2 sensed, teen thin, to do feign and Taneo Rona scratched his head. Yeah, I get CTPP Kilem zone by own. And they spilled a freethin. Ronan then peeped on a deliberately exaggerated LSC. It oa actually key olching those bastards cry, and beg folk key lives. Do owe me to describe it in detail. GC quickly waved his hand. No, hot's feign, if I high anymore. Like my appetite full. Ronan shrugged a smirk. His theory had basically been confirmed. Kioa no point in saying anything more. Ronan looked up. NX yacht Dalen's bloodlust oa totally awe of con. The man's bogey oa no thich jik at yacht same mum. The GC stood up to teachy his LIP. Ronan followed X and stood up quickly. He couldn't get sit BSC NLN jits about those bastards. Key a few more think but I shouldn't ship a busy man lay do. Since it might teach he key some time uchus, Ronan continued, suddenly glancing at a nearby buck. Own I've organized my end. I'll give him to do tomorrow. I assume they'll be very happy. It's about a hayut. He spoke those lot, deliberate emphasis. It oa a cliaton aim that Dalen, if do hunt kier me no, a hayat's zakret UNB revealed to the onion. Yacht Nate. Oe Ronan, oa sow asleep. Dalen suddenly appeared before him. Without any hesitation, the Nye swung his zout. How? But get as the BLGTOA about to hit. Ronan vanished. Then, a voice came far and behind Dalen. I knew that say up tonight. Nixo to Zai do third craze bastard. Dalen's third key in shock, he spun around. Radu to at Kagan. On. Oe Haronenze Alice pointing to the shy Vaxtu. Hat's my ex-back son guest. On Dalen looked. He oe instantly paralyzed Ortfi Oda Dudu on that to Sullivan's fe. Oe Jamorisha. Can't to explain Yoxep Dalen, but Dalen simply ate Iru his out. I have no explanation. Yacht he stomped his fat hat on the ground. A pulse of lay erupted. Instantly engulfing the entire realm, both Ronan and Shullifan's bodies suddenly became incredibly heavy. Oh the hell is Jit his aura pretzes? Ronan frowned. Suddenly, Dalen away already chatching at him. Rona struggled to raise La Monca to counter, but the mum, he blocked the strike. He always sent flying dozens of meters. Shullifan's AI widened. Is Jit really Dalen's aura? It seems Hayes already reached the awakening stage. Jit away completely hip fern farum the man hey, empty have been hiding his true strength and all. Dalen noticed Shulifan away distracted. He aimed a powerful slash at the boy's throat. Shulifan grit his teeth and fought BSE. But Aptu parrying Yacht Shengbla, his wrists throbbing pain. Following Yacht, they exchanged Vargin Ma grew Shulifan away Clealia at a Tatan disadvantage. Oe aren't do using Yo aura, dying Matu, even at a time Edu X2 afraid of hurting DMO do wouldn't understand. Oe did do betray us. Dalen get smart, Doof GGT it and I nevu betrayed do, Bik, I Oe nevuan of Grant Knights to begin Shulifan's expression immediately turned Ken. Aishi, as those opt left his lip. Rona stepped BSE into the fray. He had promised Shlifan. Yeah, he wouldn't interfere unto Dalen admitted his betrayal. Being able to Shimana is incredibly used. As Dalen unleashed his Benfu. Ronan Oe momentarily, CCT but Oang he focused his main. Hey seed Zai root lies strands of mana wrapping tightly around his and limbs. As Rona severed the roots, the tide of the backhand began to tin. Dalen Navu expect Yacht Ronan slashes CT actual freak magic. Without further hesitation, he delivered a X area of powerful strikes. Yacht sent Dalen flying X Vargin Eaters BSE. Jit couldn't get be Mount Rhinefum. How CCT he improved Jit much in such a ST. To see him a guinea would be an understatement. Hey small Leia Mangstu. Oe Dalen Oe distracted. Ronan's blot Oe already upon him. Dalen scrambled to parry. But the blot X Demonic guy to graze him. But commotion zet him on HEH. If thing GGT any louder, Festers would surely wake up. I'd have you no chan of winning then. He glanced toward a nearby Yunj. Without a second thought, he leapt through it. Then he bolted toward the Ziti outskirts without looking Jiu Yacht. If he cap and his efforts would be in vain. Dalen Oe Licky Fo, a ma Menagai to UIV through Bu and Aptu but you get as he expta the Ziti Jeaned. A familiar voice called FRM nearby. Doer rate. I can't contra the extoms round precisely as my father can. But I ain't used it to him in innocent PS. The traitor lay do. Kai by my hen to a. The voice you shall left it is enough as I want this language out. Please glistantly for right simple arounds with to another voice. A massive X-Tom, a tem radius already wasn't get you in inside. It oe fin countless blemleichart. The vortex grew high enough to deo ev the zitty onks. Dalen tried desperately to block it, but he oe instantly swallowed by the viol gal. Dalen gasped his vein. Oct, my dear ex-delay. And the Batcam came to an The voice you selected does not you ain world lolarm pad of ground to least go on you right horner to not you another voice you're the you uk nivuzu. An eye of brancha. By the time Uronan arrived, Dalen oe lying sprawled on the grazana shink pat of his bogia oe left fortunately he oe extra breathing. Schliff and Hatton Lee severed his meridians. I nave you thought family would have a traitor fofo years, judging by his actions. Key ultimate gun is likely the destruction of Grancha. I knit to inform my father immediately without no thought. Schliffen hurried BSE to the familiate stat. Ronan watched him akko, and cursed it at the rude guy. He didn't even zai thank to. Bifolan, Nibiru's arrived on the scene. Odo a yen yacht commotion get no. The voice you selected does not support Ronan tend around. Please send away the priors and end the swings to another voice Hagug. But surprised him even more. Oe ot Nibiru's, the oe in pajamas. Sigurd and Kito Leg get the hilarious contrast to his aggressive suxaliti. Without hesitation, Ronan gave him his facts too. Thumbs up of Gansomai Kuchin, Nibiru Zate sounding a bit annoyed. The Principa nodded in agreement. Hayes rate, answer the Kuchin facts too. The prophet's tit in sleepwear isn't the priority here, even if it is key. Unexpected. Ronan looked how at Dalen. To peeped it simply, a ute is a jock. A ute is a jock? Nibiru Zen the Principin looked completely bewildered. Breed a we talking about? Apt to hearing Ronan's detailed explanation. The Princip and finally realized Kiowe a traitor in the Grancha family. Jit is a serious matter, but thanks to do. Amadia disaster away averted. Do did a Gio. The praise empty Ronan a lit embarrass. The voice you cannot to share nine to floor of this lorage. Please have like a right barrier to switch to another voice. He's easy tishi. Exchanger man enclaves. He trusted the Principin. 19th then is ever 100% certain, he couldn't reach leaking jet information. If he did, those close to him might fall victim to Clay's reach. Jet UMB investigated shortly. Gruncha is a vital part of the Impeo, so hot worry. In any KNT, the Impeo is grateful foe everything Duvna. In regarding the incident at the Capagaxia Forge, would do lay as a reout. Ronan perked up instantly. He already had a rank plan in Maine to thwart Clay's schemes. The Principna's approval, Julie the neck monin, Ronan stood in Finlip Zuquake, and peeped up a recruitment fileo, a do iron boring aka ami clap. If cryet a whole new Akperian foe do. Behold, the adventure clap raids engin ku haunt matter. If duv gijiti the gots simg me and adventure klahuchim. Ronan immediately CTN, the adventure clap, is an abort regnu and combat Akperian. Elens become pip who truly contribute to the Impeo. Jit is the neat clap, to operate outside the Akaami? The students in the crowd looked at Itchy confused. N of Jit. A bind watched by ZMON in the Lizahim? No yet, can't be rate. A few K later, not a Shing X Zoan up at the sailing BU info and Rona dumbfounded. It's gang on. I peeped on such a girt peefy middle of the Zuquake. Isn't anyway here? Everyone already knew except Fo Ronan. Had already spread. Apparently his ability consisted of beating up every applicant, and if they survived they face using if they prepared to kai fo the clap. Everyone always saying, if do join G 10 lives wouldn't be enough to survive, but Ronan didn't zayat Yui Hinley wanted to tet. Key courage, regardless. Own PX Gen X2 Manic Guide to Yathr Oa Balama. He owe exactly the sigh of Ton Ronan needed. Dorin, Balama Brucka into a happy grin. But Ronan immediately threw a end blanket on his excite. Joining G clap is going to be exhausting. Adura argi foyat Balama nodded firmly. Bikt fo him. As long as he can Gotstra held to whatever it takes. Since no one else is showing up, Ronan ton the others to het Aofax to. He would extade behane, n fo, but he ended up waiting on to nightfall. As expected, not AXO and Ronan Oa speechless. He had no choice but to extat packing up. Bill the interviews, a disappoint. At least he had Angzon's company. If I weren't so busy, my X16, I might have considered joining. Hearing Jit, Ronan's face instantly darkened. He would nav you allow yacht. Bikt if he joins us. Hell definitely become Craze's target. Besides, Anderson's UN Farum his past lay. Full him to give up on buying command hiv. And lay a simple ordinary lay, but Lunan, else t. A voice suddenly interrupted him. Ode a relief. Do RX do here, Lunan looked up. And sounded DMON standing right in front of him. He hadn't sensed key Prasian hatten. But regardless, Lunan oa glad to zai no px gen. Adu hiafon in view do on to ji al clap. Hearing jit, the nail comma slowly lowered. Can I eat? Can I tea it? The mom she spoke, Lunan oa cct completely believed as suggestive talk is yacht, but fortunately aptu she explained. Lunan realized she wanted to tcte. Oh, do ming h, she's newly me. If duji doll definitely got to pat it, the Jian's fei turned bright red. She empty no effort to hide HLPP fo it oa leisure then yacht, Lunan xh fei, Clealilon grek hey. And Crimson AI. And since she had arrived without a sow, she oa clearly no ordinary px. Lunan pointed to a Trenin dummy nearby. Fax do use kya, dummy. Tos mi o do can do. And ten mi yo, NMY. Magic hit Batman, Juphilia. As she spoke, she eagerly began to demonstrate H Peo. The mom she raised H hen. A massive surge of Boatret mana gathered. Lunan stared in shock. It oa the legendary GAC attribute met and Affinity yacht is notoriously difficult, but Lunan notices Imanthan else too, ECCT Clealishi. Erding yacht Boatret mana and Aura Zimilu, Tasitas blop magic. As Ophelia swung how. A giant magic and claw flew toward the dummy. A mom later, it left 3 gip gashes across it. Kip and main, even Lunan's zout. CC barely CT through those dummies without hesitation. Lunan announced yacht she had passed, but he to had many questions. For instance, she might not be Hyaman, but get as Lunan oa about to spitch. Ophelia's voice echoed in his mane. It oa telepathic magic. Audible lead to Lunan. It's exactly do suspect, but please keep it a secret to avoid unnecessary trouble. Ellen's talk somewhere else. I have listened to ATXO. Ophelia and Lunan stepped outside. She finally GGTHers and held Sita in Heihen. Du's 8 jet lick thing is a dreamer, how fascinating. I never expected to she. Zamanthan so rare in a plax of Lunan's lately shifted the tippage. Do or get as fascinated vampire. But to do and left isn't job rate? Through Ophelia's explanation learned, KAX do vampire living in the abandoned they simply kip a lay profile to avoid buying discount. Then oe rich exposure. To G al clap, is it get fo Sita? Ophelia nodded. The facts to Taimu she ex Sita in the plaza. She sensed it. The lake creature possessed black magic. Yacht, MTH, exitengly hires did havu vampire abilities. He's ECT manipulate blade, even OE X2 in his egg. Ophelia OA stunned. How is yacht possible? Blood magic usually takes 3 to 5 years to learn. Doer saying he mastered it in 2 months and urged such a hot exceedy of bold on jidly piqued H interest in the lit guy, even more. Can I ATXE 6 a mamthan of doing so? Honestly, I hunt own to LIP him. But I have to go BSC to my Ireneath Menthan farm him though. Ophelia looked at Lunan pleading AI. If do agree. I promised you ZUC Variha, unable to refuse Lunan LN HTG of Sita's feathers. The neck K. Lunan aimed the clap memb arrived at the Akaamis, designated Fitch X packs. To his surprise, it oa an entire Una's Mildin. He glanced at his teammates, and noticed they carrying Zamnayugir, Maria's greatsword, and a Sam's bracelet, crafted by the Matu of Kapagaxia. The Havi's out, oa ppn, fo channeling Maria's raw strength. Sam's bracelet enhanced his mana contra, reportedly doubling his Fila expit. They turned and headed into the BUN. I asked you to bring your weapons too, a very important reason. Own inside, they gathered around Alon TTBU, outclap Hali own gun. To unlock all potential through Practican Ugperion. Yet, oa the plitch the true objective. Oa actually, to prepare the giant invasion 10 years far Lunan then pulled el map. Jit is Alfax 2, Untenex and the Bedian Mountains. It's unchat territory the Impeo, unch msich it extremely de the 3 of hem stunned. Who extat kivari fax to mixin in a plaxalate but Lunan ton him not to worry. Bic the greater the danger, the more Ugperion. Furthermore we laying far and prophet sil Maran. Yet, it's the habitat of the cursed AOA the MTPPNG. Location post fax do Elens addressed the 2 of do. Looking at the confused Maria and Sam. Lunan continued. We're going to spar, Hanwari, only use my's out but if do underestimate me. Do are going to lask badly. Maria glanced at Sam. Ellen's do jit, Ellen's SA him, how much we've grown. Sam nodded in agreement. A bolt of Pew Azua mana instantly appeared in his hand. Maria launched the Fex to Akka. H. Braitsword carved a graceful AC through the E and slammed heavily into the Fiola. Bushi lacked XPYT, the Shapeo of the strike MT Lunan wary. Careful do doing. If yacht actually hits me, it'll be severe in blick and blue bruise. Maria didn't answer. Responding Li a flurry of slap. Lunan evaded every Shing on. As they locked in combat, Assam used his telekinetic grip to lip a massive 300 kg. He hurled it toward Lunan without hesitation. Maria got BSE. Seeing the danger, Lunan Oe forced to unsheath Lemma. Earthu quet strikes. He shattered the Banku into pieces. Due to really Havu improved it, Alessi lay dupe and trene oe especially due, Suorle a completely hip, haven't shinya enough of key strength. Lunan ended the trial. He CCT exactly how much they'd grown. At JIT rate, the CCT likely graduating get 2 weeks, so get as a Sam and Maria. Breathing a sigh of relief, Lunan's tone suddenly shifted. No, I'll end some UV onto the X-Pax and Tramp. None of the three of us are allowed to use magic. The two of hem yek stunned by hats not fat at him. Bick? Whether Ronan uses magic or need MCC absolutely no hip, and so through JIT X-Pax and Trenin. Ronan achieved a crushing victory. Trenin lasted nearly 2 weeks. Before Maria and Axum finished the entire course Julie. Ronan slapped the Grauax and certificates in fern of the Prinxum and froze fo a get to Anna hap. You are saying yo entire clap. HA already completed the curriculum. Ronan gave a nod. The voice you select to it was clear to hort a knowledge. Please clipping the upper right corner just as with horse dula havua zia futra. Up to bidding the Prinx they arrived at the Bedian Mountains the net K. Get reaching the entrance. The incredibly pew manna in the left Maria in absolute awe, but they x to far so they pressed it to Newson. Finally, Ronan reached the pitch and looked how. Discovering a vilt established by orcs. Balama away in Tatan disbelief. I didn't know orcs, Kiwan Bulfulja by Ki Shing Vilt. Ki insane reproductive rate, they can overrun the entire Montenrangio in no time, becoming a massive to end the nearby residents. Hots Oe Ronan's fax do objective here is to wipe hem AO completely. Simple enough, rate. Axum Oe stunned by the plan. If I'm seeing JIT rate, Ki 100th of hem how Ki. But Ronan ton him not to worry. Jizuarks aren't actually yacht extrang in combat. The only thing Ronan is wary of is ano species called ogres. They have bodies yacht, even swords cannot penetrate, specifically Kili Yu, the two-headed ogre Guer. Ziamoen even I can defeat yet. Fortunately, he be appearing at Jeet Taimu, get as the Gert prepared to at. They interrupted by a voice, yo intentions a and but I wouldn't recommend doing yacht. A Kale King middle-aged elf suddenly appeared behind him. How is Jit pas Oe din I zen his Prasian? Rona spun around, warily resting his hand on his zout hilt. Sarant the elf gave a jaunty smile. I'm merely a priest of Jizu Mountains, serving in Angzen X named. Senior, it's not Ziafu here, shall we talk somewhere else? In Rickspawn, Ronan immediately, Hirulama, Zata movement zet everyone on HEH. They couldn't understand. Oe Ronan, Oe threatening and but Nali Ronan understood. Yet, anyone appearing in couldn't possibly be ordinary. A Hyatt is a Tatan bastard, repeated apt to me, a blot pressed ag in his throat, Saren had to foul along. Own his bogey Zoan no signs of a Ronan ruled him as a mem of craze. As a man of faith. Expecting so crudely, Oe Ki embarrassed Ronan ton him not to worry. Remarking Yat Nizea, insulting a Hyatt is practically a holy act. The Gerp then followed Sarant to Ano location, along the UA, he casually mentioned, Yat he had lived fo ab 1,000 year. Ronan Oe instantly stunned. The Impeo Han Li been around fo a few centuries, yet he existed long before it beant. Even fo an elf, live in Eve millennium, is incredibly rare. Ronan then asked, Oe they shouldn't act the orcs. The orcs' behavior have been extranguli, they are nocturnal creature. Yet they patrine the mountains every shangnate. Even the ogres have left Kitratori. To gather here, of rhythm point toward Zementhan Bick happening. Sarant then pointed toward the lead stand. And a massive extant structure emerged. It Oe the temp of Senior. Balama stood furries a bu in yacht shy appearing of the Oe the UCC of Barayuma. Axum even noted. Yet magic of Jit Caliba, Oe Bion even key and professors. Ronan Oe. Equally surprised, Jit Guy Oe definitely no ordinary priest. They stepped inside the temp. A corn cop-shaped menelit stood in the Zen too. Yet, Oe the Satro Senior hit Oe key unsight but it held profound meaning fo Sarant. The temp is key spacious, so fu fury to rart fo a bit. However Ronan turned the combax in the habitat of the cursed AI. Sarant gave him a LSC, instantly zenxing the Prasian of a curse. So, hots how it is he a extranju echoes around do havu a mum, Ellen sit how and thought. The two of him moved to a pavilion. Sarant thoughtfully brewed a pot of tifo Ronan. As the aroma reached Ronan's nose, he extends threat of mana avrio n. Of Rithan Oe clearer than ever, before. Oe Ronan stood key in shock. Sarant offered an explanation. I use a Xpaxin herb fo GT. Yacht enhances mana sensitivity. I'll give you the recipe. It should achieve yo condition. But promise me dull X top using yacht cursed it I. It drains the user's ver lefa. A shing usk might not be fatten. The repeated usk. You and surely CCT duyole Ronan, Oe left speechless by the Onan, had been so focused on breaking the curse, he never realized the eye's lethal shy effects. Thanks to Saren's timely advice, he learned yat in a crasit the ma composed do need to be. Hots how to avoid mistakes. Listening to Saren's Urkmik, Ronan felt a zen of clarity. Prophet so secret Oe rate. Jit curse isn't Zamampan to be rushed. Maybe I really do knit to's lao how. Looking at the Psy elf before him, Ronan Oace he hadn't have you met him in his past lay, and yet he felt extringe zen of familiarity. He decided to pn up. He spoke of the fanatic head encountered lately. Those waiting foe the extele to arrive. Hearing Jits, Sarenth lowered his making he muv already. On Nate fell. Sarenth stood allant before the statue. The fanatic Ronan spoke of. Oh, he talking about their planning Gnamthan deadly. Zamanthan yacht uncct mem I zemi I know agan? Ron as a raven felt lay an answer. I am t peeped ax stopped a jet oe Saren oe gippen thought. Rona's void pulled him bse to reality. Jit xty and really is Zamanthan. G it havu ax paxin mean at the mention of the statue, Saren's AI lit up. Of course, every millennium, we carry 1000x10, to the farthest reaches of the Empeo. It's a land of eternal storms. UMTX Danny Road, Erden is Entry. The Onyas survives is called Senior. Representing a X of Pew Rex a line he remembers clearly. Carrying Jit, Vari statue Erd his unfrun. No, haze the on left kip in the fath. Devoting a lifetime to a cause. Yath offers no and heavy burden to be, even if wavered at tie. But if Nui had a premonition, yet, I am indeed to be the epping x10 yacht saves the onion. I fu lay yacht mum is finally approaching. During the few K we spend here, everyone happened drinking Sarenth's herbal brews. Anj significantly boosted our magic affinity. In his expia taimu, Ronan would G Sarenth to forage faux medicinal herbs. 2K passed, peacefully get lay yacht. Then Ronan decided at Oe taimu to zai they would playa ao the orc vilt. Before heading be it however Zarenth Oe deeply concerned we extra haven't found the cause of the orcs extra can duana a miklum. Ronan get chuckled in Rickspawn. Lay duzate they're get acting weird. It's not lay they've gotten any stronger, we can handle him. Unable to Shanjoki minds, he raises a henegi hat and a spell on him. Jit, do can antu NLIP the temp freely. If do encounter danger, CMBS understood. Meanwhile on the ACA Shia and Elthray, a POA leading a two-headed ogre. If CM foe do Zarenth. Own Ronan's Tim reached the orc settlement. They scouted the area carefully far and the hide the orcs happily divvying up stolen gun and taking advantage of Kilax's security. Ronan gave the oak to Ek. Everyone away already in Kebak hands dances, Ellen's LIP none of handstanding, as the orcs bloating, and showing PP key looted necklaces, Yuskil's telekinesis, to of Maria, and the Aslo side Zugluagifo in an asht, Bifo two of the orcs CCT even react they sliced Klin in hap, then in a flurry of blades, Vargin maw orcs, cactopis seeing he comrades fall, the remaining orcs, Ellent, I fear they lunged out in a blind rage, chatching straight at the two. Suddenly, a hail of X10 smashed into the chatching orcs. Those hit knocked to the ground instantly. A second later, even Foster projectiles the orcs before they CCT relay OA assholes using his telekinesis to manipulate the ruck. Standing beside him, Johan Ois of precise contra, the orcs finally noticed, the two-pip hovering in might. Ronan, by urged asshole to use a mod does an almighty push to YB him and the timid asshole gave a uvo of his hen, and the XTYN in the sky came crash. The orcs, terrified and scrambled in panic. Later the entire orc tribe, away wiped as the thick mist cleared. Ronan's Tim went out to clear the battlefield, looking at the bodies strewn at away on the Vagayo of two. We killed so many, Yuna be cursed by the heavens. Ronan gave him a reassuring smile. It's vain well be cursed Tagug. Racked even gave him a thumbs up. Assel didn't know whether to laugh or so we really a gang to be cursed. Suddenly Sita poked Ronan's chitch and pointed toward the B of a tribe. Verb followed H gaze, NXEMOM Kolapski. Looking closer, it away by Tiffin Elf Sigaret and Wu. Ronan aimed the others rushed F to AOH quickly untying H he Tunsita to use killing magic. Slowly the elf opened HAI. She looked at Ronan and his Tim. Erde Alessi of shock who do. The neck execna, she suddenly coughed up. Ronan hurried to XP teat, can even sit as magic. Not heal H, injuries. Dasping foe the yacht's magic peo surrounding. Did you get CM from the temp? Biffo de CCTM. She grabbed Rona's show tightly, desperately beckon him to teach H to Zayat man. H expression turned to own of pure terror. There to him if I hunt deliver jitnu, to the man in the temp in Taimu, he UNB engraved in Biffo she see t finish she collides to the gron, the scene shifts. Saranth oe wiping how extend, on ZMO and stepped and behing him. Ronan arrived, carrying the you saw that fo Saranth on his beat. Saranth looked at him in surprise. Oe do BSE soza ot happen? Odo relief? Ellen's check on HFAX. We rescued Jeet elf far she says she ha urgent business. Saranth duped at H, stunned, and elf wants to she me. Seeing H battered ext. Saranth reached L2, Patronan on please temi of Rith and yacht habim. The scene shifts Aga, Maria and the other state behang. To the extra foe any ACA cat haven't found no own. They prepared to head up he. Assel always staring at the fallen orcs. Did do feign Zamanthan, sweetie? Assel explained yacht to zoo orcs seemed a bit strange you. The ACA to Uck puzzled yes. At Hiep B layer of magic kit camp. It's the facts to Taimu if ever Oshasai of magic is it? Jizu magic circles. The voice you selected does Nonan hat Ruffine with Ert. The easier held upper right corner. Zarin switched each other H to a rum foe tripman. App to ASTO. Zarin smiled and Zachi oa awe of danger. Ronan finally breathed a sigh with then got healing magic wasn't awe king guy all worried shed been hit Ert some exchange ManhWa if already administered an antitoxin. Thank do foe bring H to me in Taimu. Otherwise I might have la dear friend precious. So she's also the voice you select. She is lone of Vortex low extra believes if we click the oh my hell when the strongest Chinwinaj's voice. A truly faithful and sincere believe no ya do zu H. How can I ever repay do? Ronan rubbed the BSE of his hat sheepishly. Oh ain't thin. Hunt mention it. But please tend me. Before she collapsed. She's 8 they almost here. She warned do to be on gap. Who exactly OA she talking about? I do really immortal danger? Saranth fell silent at a kuchen. The scene shifts. Saranth led Ronan to the standing extend. To be honest, I'm not entirely Sue makes infun. They a cult. Yacht worships an unknown entity, believing it to be a key god. They are incredibly mysterious. I han know who they are either. Liat they have committed many atrocities. They see themselves Nebula, the mom HT the end. Ronan always startle and those bastards really came in Fodu? So, do know him? They sent assassins apt to me a few tie. They couldn't fang me, they gave up. I thought they had moved on. Since it's been quite foe the lot few hundred years, but it seems they've returned. Ronan immediately grew anxious. Then how can do xte so calm? Do need to got, of here. Zaranth immediately shook his head. I cannot lip jiplaxa. The souls of Mani reside here. If I am UV elsewhere? Innocent pip, UNBCCT, I hunt Ralfimya, tots oe I own do unto lip jipt. I hunt anyone else getting hurt. I hap do can understand. Ronan looked at him gib concerned. Zaranth, unfold me. I'm ging BSE to CFOP onto them enforcement. Please go into hiding. Han doing anything reckless is yacht and rate. Salin couldn't H-it, but, chuckle, I understand. LXTYY hurt yacht. She handed Zamanthan to Ronan. Please teach jit. It's a reout foe's vin, my dear foe, is it? It's a rin. And it's an antry pat foe, the Magia Deo. If do ever head to the Deo of Hon, be sue to SA jit to the Douse, so surely feign information regarding yo curse. And rate then, ZFU Trevin. Ronan it oa a pleasure meeting do. The time we spend Tagug. Oa Trubeltson. Ronan rubbed his hat, speechless. It's not lay well nevuzaij. Oa is you talking legit. LBBSE zun. Get unfold me. Apt to saying jit. Ronan spent. Salent watched him lip then la h expression turned canen serious. Should I be happy about our reunap to NG Taimu, my long-led friend? Or should I see do the Nebula assassin know? Bricia? The elf who had been lying injured suddenly stood up. His bogey oa selenaries haten in a farm yellow to oe instantly. He smiled and zate, oea do bine so critical. How have we do been lately? Salent, since they chose do as key assassin, it seems yo even Isaacson is key brutal. Aren't do doing the same by drugging yo patients? And of course yo clumsy acting. Oa fought too easy to Zyth pretending to be captured by orcs. Simply ridiculous. I had no choice. Meeting do isn't exactly easy. I used the monsters here to lure you, but do of you took the bait. However, as luck would have it, I happened to spot those lickport when ain't around Tiomana. I thought killing him and dumping him nearby would draw do awe. But the first held BSC, bict, I am a devout believer. I do moved if hots the KNT. I and do have terrifying, can't I even jeek Nemu. Anyway, enough XEMT talk. I'm here to deliver the Ganazaxon's orders. Persuade Salent, if he refuses, cure him. Before the sentence see the tension between heaven refensed breaking in an angst, he pay you collided. The impact triggered an immediate explosion. The ground around the temp trembled. Ronan, who had already left, noticed the return BSE to LSE. Then he ran into Ashel and the others. Ronan, ki due. Yeah, did you feign any ACA captives? No, but we found Zemanthan suspicious. Shortly after Dula, on the head of every orc. I found a exchange magic XN, a tape of magic of Navush and beef. Ronan looked puzzled after hearing. Suddenly, a massive bolt of lightning struck behind him. Everyone Oe completely shocked. Oa explosion came in far the temp. Ronan Oe hit by an immediate zen of dread. At the same time a gargantuan fat slammed how, shaking the earth, Viog foot. They turned around to Shi Colossal, towering Manx-2. It savagely tore of Rithan apart. As the dust cleared, they finally exit Cleo. The Manx-2 actually had two height, a two-headed ogre, staring up at it massive shy. Ashel and the others froze in hesitation. Oh mum, they are at a loss. Ronan gripped his out and shouted, got it taggig. Stay behind me, do can handle G-thing. The ogre merely looked how at him contempt. In the neck exekna, a massive hand appeared behind racked, catching him pp gap. Oh, it's happening. I can him ev my bogey. The giant hand slammed ruthlessly into racked. Racked Oe sent flying lay a bolt. He crashed heavily into the un. Ashel and Maria watched, dumbfounded. Before they CCT either the two-headed ogre own agon, raised it fist, and brought it how mercilessly he bodies paralyzed his own. Get then, as Outtip lunged foutlay agdao. Ronan blocked a strike foe him, but the Manxed his fist away completely unhurt. Even the two-headed ogre away shocked. He actually blocked my punch. As Ronan prepared foe his neck mu hate ton Ashel and Maria to Tichi Sita Aoi, Tichi cat of racked, ill-handled did guy. Meanwhile, elsewhere Salant and Brizia, locked in combat. Ki, Ungi clash Yadavilatem onks. Brizia lunged fout incredible expit. Salant quickly cat a hitbank sip spell. Gao warding erupted farm Salant. Swirling wanes surrounding, but in the blend of an AI they condense into a massive X surging toward Brizia. Staring at the oncoming tempest, Brizia Zoa no sign of few. Instead, a LSCF PUG crossed his hiench. Jit is exactly what I wanted. Biffo he vinit. He immediately imbued his Zao, Giacine, a murderous aura instantly exploded. He channeled the surrounding darkness into his co. As he swung the blot, it transformed into a pillar of shrieking fout. To Titan Yex Heyu met in the E. Locked in a PPN stalemate, the resulting explosion pulverized everything in the area. The smoke cleared, both men completely unscathed. Suddenly Brizia vanished in a flood. Only the salva blot whistling sees Brizia appears right in front of him. Salant gasped, but the magic shoe had prepared earlier successfully blocked the act. He murderous gazes met foe split execnit. Biffo Ongi erupted Olma. The impact threw him both backward. Impressive as Nui. Do really a slight and it'd be such a on to Kirdu. Oe na ji ao igani sixen. Definitely land manatman roll. Salant refused indignantly. In yo crim, I unserve a cult regardless. Duve grown ki rusty. And yo movements habu slowed. Is yo freed no longer a king fodu? Of course not. I oe get a lick boy. I get wanted to zai do pifum. I know. Duve them busy buying time move fo those kit to ATK. Door putting on a SA get to kip hem a readjit to do really thin they'd LIP safely? Oe what's the MONS indifferent as do? Go so far to pritch? Salant looked stunned, as if insinuated him in surprise. They get guess I happen to MIT huntaget him for no reason. If do key lay a hen on him, I ain't be polite about letting do El Rizia brushed at PP dismissively. Oh, how terrifying. But can I really do? Biffo he see teethin. A loud explosion echoed farum gip in the furrow. Salant away startle, yat direction, it's Ronan. Do bastard, Biffo he CCT even react. Brizia hat already flickered, directly behind him. A sinister grin. Salant, is jig, really the time to be the lethal blot sliced through the E. Salant's arm fell to the ground. The voice you selected does Ronan Oil shields only hashel enmer but I'm two-headed ogre's right corner to switch he urged him to teach sita and go. LSE apt to racked, ill handle G thing. Biffo he CCTs the two-headed ogre slammed it pamhow. Ronan immediately blocked the strike to Pritch Maria. Both of them held key breath in suspense as Ronan approached the ogre. He took a closer LSE and realized a curse had been placed upon it AI. They identical to the X10 men of Kapagaxi. Jidoe definitely the UCC of the nebula. Oe Rona's Oe observe. The two-headed ogre slammed it fists. How agon. Ronan quickly retreated to Hutgio the bluff. Then he immediately launched a counter. He steadied himself a shripping Lamankati swung at the Zentu of it Boji. A blot of Angi descended, followed by a flurry of rapid strike. But the two-headed, the ogre's skin hat heart attacks failed to Hayu. Any fat damn it's get as tough as Biffo. The strike Nuzagi and rage at Fithil Ronan CCT even lamb. The ogre threw a Fompao punch at him. By the time he reacted, the fist away already in his fey. Luckily he meant a guy to block it his out. but the massive recoil sent him flying. To avoid a nasty fall, he had to revive his zout into the even then he oa pushed bse x's out hands wouldn't x top shaking. Damn, it's get as x strang as it oa then. Seeing Yat Ronan oa x the ogre uprooted a tri-ert. It left and grabbed a no-ert any it might. The ogre hurled him a pincer act for him both sides, but Ronan didn't zim nervous at n. He get looked at the fallen racked a grim fay. Du've done zimemthan do should hurting my friend right in front of me. Do jet, do bastard. As the trees flew toward him, Ronan sliced him in half in an instant. Then, using the severed halves as platform, he zipped through the foray. Finally, late in expert, he appeared AVP the two-headed ogre. Ronan gripped the hilt tight, pulling BSE to the reason he couldn't in quickly in his pass lay. A bict he lacked a weapon, acute and lacked nokes. Thin a if I have the lamunka and profit so neberos moves. In a X split, the ASV around Ronan gathered into his BLGT rotating block. Lamanka spun rapidly, creating a lethal AE. He tore through the ogre at extreme expert. The mom Ronan landed. He slowly sheathed his zout. The ogre looked on in confusion. How did Jig guy got through? As the zout clicked X'd. A bogey instantly fell into pieces. A confident man Navu LSCB yet took a bit longer than expected. Ronan walked slowly toward Essel's GURP. Asia Maria. How is wrecked? Is he okay? Don't worry. We finished facts to aid, but he extra needs a proper checkup. Seeing Yacht racked OA, Ronan breathed a sigh of relief. Kept treating him here. Odabad do Ronan. I'm heading BSE to the temp to check on Thin. Own Ronan arrived at the temp. He OA instantly shocked by the scene. Biffo he left. The temp OA rang en sacred. How OA reduced to rubble so quickly? Oat haben? If me been gone fo mom. Suddenly, Ronan sensed footsteps behind him. Nin in around he at Saranti pale-faced. Gasping foe, he had even LSD an arm. Yet, he actually manic Gaia sang heavens durs efu. I'm Xery, I should have EFEM to zvud but my bogey get wouldn't. Saranti stumbled fout. Ronan rushed F to expate him. In jit condition, CCT do possibly yoga on et happen. Who did jit? Saranti didn't answer. I'm Fane, don't worry. Do nit to LIP here immediate. I'll catch up zon. Biffo he CT finish his sentence. Suddenly a GAC sow pierced right through Saranti. He spat a mouthful of blood. Ronan watched in shock. Biffo has CTT re Saranti. Then a figure blurred past far and behind. Looking BSE, an elf Otazalt meeped. She sneered at Sarante. Is jit how to treat an ain friend? I didn't expect do to have such a MUV left in do apt to losing an arm. It almost killed me. Fortunately I have the XDA both so do can't cure me. Sarante grit his teeth in anger. The elf then looked at Ronan playfully. I thought I wouldn't got to Zaidu. To Thin do survived Yat ogre. Impressive UCC, Kit. Ronan glared at Ert Fury. Who I do? Oh, silly me, I almost forgot. Do haven't shinjid fei yet. Lent me introduce Nixum fum properly and thank Dufos vin me. After she spoke, Brydia disguised herself BSE into the injured elf. Ronan suddenly realized the trite. Do the elf the orc tried the own. Hoakap. I'm truly grateful. Thanks to do. IOA able to recruit the Barayu and as a Riant. El give do a quetchang. As the oct left H. Brydia released a powerful aura. GAC Ongi surged a lay of flood. A second later, Sagu blades flew toward Ronan. On the smoke cleared, ni a lap crater Ryman off entrance him do actually dodged it. Duvki GT some skill. Ronan ignored H completely. He looked at the wounded Saranti, Erta Grim Fei. Sita, H ship him. Saranti, do have to zvu him. Sita immediately flew to Saranti. She began using healing magic on him. At the same time Ronan stepped out slowly. Do rats didn't destroy the Empyrean Forge. Do even send spies to minute to the Impair. And no Durahia causing Moa destruction, the Nebula Iganizixon. Oh, how amusing. Then do MT Havu met the Chuarn of the ITT yes a kit, killing Almemboi their omniscience. Yat wouldn't happen to be do Biffo to CT finite Ron SCCT, thrusting his out straight at H. Brygia sidestepped and dodged ease. Such strength that yo why. No onku they fell to do. Seeing his act fail, Ronan immediately backed out, but Brygia blurred fout. She closed the lid stand and swung H block. Ronan struggled slightly. I'm a guy to block the act. She seems to shoot right through me. I have utuan full H2 elent and Tichi HRA in own shot. Krishna wore a twisted smile, easily parrying his counterattack. I really lay do. It'd be such a untakir do. We na j ao iganizixen, we offer fun benefits. And even rum and blow. Ronan rejected H immediately, not a chan in hell. Du hant hevu a choi, as the oct left H mjac ongi pierced Sorrentes bogey. If do refuse, I'll cure him fax do. N in the MT painful ue possible. Hearing jit, Ronan zaya widen, grip yos out tightly. Isn't it nui rate here? Saren slay depends on yo gak sixen. So decide no. My gak sixen is to tear do apart. Do bastard. Brigantia hardly retreated ex vargeneater. The ma do resist. The ma I own to clam do. Then aptly a few sounds. The two hat already traded ex vargen blows might. Keys out unki clashed violently, sending ing or ripples of invisible shock. Even the surrounding e seemed to tremble. Sarant watched Ronan ert concern. At the same time, Ronan leaped into the E, C Slamanka, and swung it at Brigantia ert, and the efficiency of the Helicia Len XTGT is incredible. How long ha it been? It's been always since I fought ZMO1 Jetex. The Mon Ronan swung his blot. Brigantia see it ert is Shangha. It would be such a undecurred yid get boin listen. If do MUV and no muscle, I might not be able to. X stop makes a yit of the optlet fart surge of GAC on gi. Pierce the V into shun bisection. On do PPN yo aigen, X delay you and on come do. Ronan didn't have Utaimu to defend. As the long sword Oe about to pierce his hat, a sudden grin lay flared, shielding him. Saren, do agen. It Oe Sarant, X2 on the ku hati hat the shielding spell. I believe I ton do. Brigasha. If do ki hit you and nephew forgive do. Sarant, yo injured bogey, cannot handle the strain of jit magic. LIP jit to me, do've already done enough. Ronan do bought me exactly the time I needed. So, I'll IP the rart to me. Ert those oct. A blue lay enveloped Ronan. Ert a flick of Saren's finger. The blue lay instantly pulled him out. Brigasha immediately gave Chaksa ert sout, but, H bogey, Oe suddenly racked shukun, blue late medium was looking up. 3 forbidden magic circles appeared in the XCAI. Brigasha wondered, on did jit happen? How can he X to do jit ert those Brigasha? Jit is you, it ends between us. Gabai my former sister. Before the oct even fade, a massive bolt of blue lightning struck. Brigasha screamed in agony as she Oe hit. Ronan watched the scene in disbelief. Despite Brigantia's agonizing roars, Saren Zoan no muxi. Instead he intensified the lightning. I am TN ita necct, even if I been through in my mana and layfut. Brigantia's rage reached, it pitched through the pain. Sarant, do fan who worships X10. How key do, get, then. Brigantia suddenly exploded Has's surge of GAC Ungi staggered fout. I am the chosen XTA apostle. The XTA Bultsen he granted us. No on can X stop, al pat fout. Key is no longer and to tolerate pip lay do, so get kai. Seeing Jet Zeta flew in front of Sarant to preach him. Saren X yacht, Brigantia Oa extra standing. Hey use telepathy to reach Ronan, can do hi me? Ronan, yes no taimu. It'll be blant, HXDA Blossom seems able to resist my magic attack. Brigantia can X to MUV, but she's severely wounded. Shall be's Lao. Ill fit, H, you self-chen got. Rona remembered giants having jit same peo bifo. He immediately interrupted him. Whose aid do CCT's I get by? Suddenly, Zout Ki flew toward Brigantia. Brigantia scrambled to block it. Do bastard, Sarant aw startle, he turned to lepsi. Ronan awakes to standing key, Ragi to give up. Sarant, it's not Ev yet. Oh, do haunt no is, I have Onevu run awi, not on. So, trap me jet, on. Both turned toward the roaring Ronan. Elisi lay I went to Izzy on do, Kai, Brigantia shouted a uvo of Hen. GAC blades surged fout lay a tide. Get biffo they hit. A bolt of blue lightning shielded Ronan. Brigantia Oe trapped by the lightning own agon. Seizing the opportunity, Sarant focused his mana into his fingertip. The mom he struck, Brigantia took a massive hit. But she Oe unaffected U2H magic immunity. Do really thin jet is useful. The XDA Bulsen. Do haunt even havu the rate to scrap. As Brigantia swung, edge Zhao Tao. Ronan Oe already rate infernove ashamed without Rin echoed. Brigantia's arm fell to the ground. Ronan hat struck, PPNch Prigzix. I hop do kip yacht, same confidence. Brigantia stared in utter disbelief. How did you bypass the XDA Bulsen? H Fei twisted as she screamed in a frenzy. Jit is impassible, but before she CT's Iano, countless sout wounds appeared in Ev H. Jit can't be happening, blood sprayed in every direction. Go ATXCCC him is Jit how the XDA do believe in Kai. I get needed a lick more taimu. I Oa so close to the trite I saw if waited so long fo Jit. I own ku if do ever found it. And get lay yacht Sarant. Brigantia slowly closed AJI. Ronan glanced BSC coldly. Looking at the fallen Brigantia, he couldn't ship but fu a page had ernie. And because how of the XDables I would be the own lying key. It oa the same biffo my reincarnate except foam me, no one seemed able to damage the giants. But no even Brigantia hajid peo. Can I really use Kjip peo and coup the guise of a bold sin get then Sarant weakly called to Ronan. Ronan rushed to shy. Sarant hang in key. Zeta Oda doing. You skill healing magic on him. No, but Zeta looked on helplessly. He clearly couldn't do anything. The voice you selected does not subsar in this lane. Get hin on. Please click the I'll Ryan that we tease dash to another vote. But Sarant grabbed Ronan's hen. Ronan, im okay. An exery. CCTIATXC6C dufo on lot favor. A mom later Sarant leaned agan the sacred XTYN. His bogey oa wrecked coughs. He spat a mouthful of blah. I'm exery do havu to zyme legit, Ronan muttered, blaming himself. I'm so exery. If it wasn't foamy, none of jit would havu happen. Sarant CT him PP. The voice you selected is always Leah Maderling's Rhino. It's no reason to fall up for right Grona to switch to the other you long and difficult coup. Do my lisk, many thin in the I'm actually to be the own to that he's never give up. I know do can do it. Ronan looked at him Gipsaro. Suddenly the sacred extend behind Sarant glowed. Then Sarant at the Zentu. A blinding lay erupted. The lay faded. Lornan watched Sarant's bogey in Tatten shock. It always slowly tuning into it yet Sarant had a smile on his hey do Lornan. Foe helping me feign the trite. IUMB the god of Sino. Oching ev dufov. As he spoke though Sarant transformed into an Evan-shaped XTYN. Lornan watched on in silence. At Yatmum covering the sky began to clia. A shing ray of sunlight bracketh Rarden pit Sarant. Apt to offering a feigned prayer foe Sarant, Lornan left the area. He returned to the Ataami. The scene shifts. To the Hinsp Fitch. The kin looked ev the clap 8 venture ripped. Lornan hat gets submitted. Yo clap activities are incredibly dangerous. Approving ham in the fuge. You and be a difficult gaxi Lornan. Did you have uninthin to Zypho yox Lornan felt a uvo of all quickly explained it unbicked of yacht crazy. It be jit that neck timo. So please hop ben our claps activities. The kin always speechless. Aside from the fic yacht, do also witness have Aaron's patsing. A do really okay? Hearing jit. Lornan clenched his fists, then he slowly spoke saying he, away fain. I'd be lying if I zaid Iowa if I wallow in grief. I think he will be even more upset so please don't worry about me, thank do for your concern. Seeing his resolve, the kin dropped the matter. Alright, I understand, had's a relief. Do white all those orcs flew to call crimen. I cannot punish, so to accomplishing Zemanthan so punishing him would be wrong but can do promise me own thing? If do encounter yacht egan as Ixanagan do undo anything reckless. I can't, my students tease such massive risk. Lornan agreed immediately. Of course I promise it aren't be and it's you. Obi gang no, ilzai do befo alnek eventu. I'm exri foen of jit. Oching Lornan lip in a hurry. The kin sighed helplessly. He wanted to remind Lornan about his missed classes. But Lornan probably wouldn't have his zine shifts. To the clap buin, Lornan went key to supervise key Trenin, but the Plaxa, Oa Desarsal and the others no bet a familiar figure, Oa sitting key, poi Oa do here, Stiphen turned het. And looked at Lornan seriously. It finally found do. I hop do havu some time we need to talk about the nebula Iganizixen. The voice you selected does not Lornan let Gasha. He didn't bother the some right Greek one of aswing a another with the oat she had to tend him. Also Biffo do came here to do hi you the rats in yo family in Evjazula 2 weeks. We conducted a massive sweep of the family. We've already CTT 19 spy. I personally interrogated 5 of her. The others UN. Be sent to Rodel and prize info further questioning. But no yes, Amabia problem. The restrictive seals no longer UCC on him. Lornan OA taken aback. Oh, Ode do talking about. The seals are useless. And during our intigiction of the 19, none of the seals look effective. Considering how cautious those nebula bastards are. It's possible they found the UE to remove the seals. I believe Hot's a ZFU assumption. Damn, Hot's incredibly annoying. The voice you selected does not support you. We really have to link the upper right of Hannah. That's my own other voice. Oa Lornan, Oa Gibbon thought. Stiphen stood up to LIP. Alright, Hotson, I wanted to Zai. If any mon you comes up. LL and do know. Finally, ILSE fout to the upcoming midterms. El Zai do key. Lornan looked completely baffled. Ode do talking about to pay later during the exam. On an Aeon Contra by Filian Akaami. Nibiru's OA, explaining the midterm rue. As do know. My clat focus is primarily on practice. I really wanted to send Du to an actual battlefield, But according to the XCOM's guidelines, yat simply wasn't possible. XCM, it would have been Kifan. However, my neck tetan method is get IU and scatter do across jit aeon to begin a reen limitless duel. Of course, do haunt it to worry about dying. If prepared a piece of equipment fo yo xt, Nibiru's pointed toward the bracelets on the rack. If the wearer of Jid bracelet loses the ability to fate, they UNB automatically teleported to the MDMB Acta Ami's bet healers awaiting key. Suddenly, Nibiru's 8 Siamil treat Jit as a lion's struggle. Use any strategy or technique do have as long as Durek strengena divit yo and as fo to a. Go ahead if do own to Kirziam hear him, Lornan hat Nevushin Nibiru so worked up. It actually gave him a bit of a seeksta, fout, Ntichi a bracelet om du pisted on, Dal be teleported to his Zeth location. Fax do addition then Lornan. Oching addition slowly ok fout. Lornan couldn't ship, but fu, the crowd weehing him began to whisper. Addition? Isn't he get some errand run in X16? Hayes usually inclat me. And no hay sticking the exam too. Own, yeah UCC foas an idiot lay him around. We und havu to worry about Lornan oa fumi laugh to hear considering the Gert kamehas skern laven. Taking JIT exam would get be a brutal experience o full the Gert kamenka. The backgak 6 and 08 MT egg second the mom a dishan peeped, he oa instantly teleported owie. The others teleported shortly apt to Lornan oa sent to a location on the Aeon. He took a LSE at his surroundings. He oa no on else around. Oa I teleported somewhere and by make some fun. Am I really yacht licky? I hope so. Then Lornan L ent X hiding a NCM out. Shanio do LSE pretty nervous. Damn it, oe. Did I have to run into the neckness at you Ray X some behind the try leaped into the E. He swung the massive ACH straight at Lornan's head. As the smoke cleared, a long sword, already pressed Jiai's hats a bit much. Is Jit how to treat Yo Junio? As Yo Junio, Jit, Sichimi a lick on Hasim those of Du teleported to the same spot. Havu formed a temporary lane, maybe Bikt Jit is Filian, but Dur handling Jit situation, Kion, but Biffo HCTT finish. Lornan moved Leighton in X, hurling a extend far am his hen, a man hiding in the trees oa struck instantly. He went crashing to the ground. Jit isn't Yobat strategy. Seeing Jit the block-haired Liu, immediately shouted the ambush failed. Everyone got Roggy to fate. He might be a Mangstu, but Hayes X to get Omet. He have the advantage in numbers. In an ingst, the Hitkin attackers emerged. They charged desperately toward Lorn. Everyone, Akim no. A mam later Lornan slowly sheathed his zout. As expected of a Excandio Jit is game to teach some Gien then. Some movement ahead CCT Luan and Zaya. 3 boy ox surrounding a Gian Sivirai in wounds. Oh I'm a bit impressed. I didn't thin do CCT hun the GM is ev no. Do should get div up Addison. Despite H battered bogey. Addison OA X2 observing H opponents and formings I might be at my limit. But it seems if Kazu Jizu 2, Talot Berthia lit 30 A Ivan leading him. They're convinced they can't lisk. Hots exactly oats macking he openings a easy chizino. And li havu on shot ellen jitaninongo. In a sudden flood of movement, Addison swung H zout in a lay asia before the 2CT react. She had already appeared right in front of him. The mame, blot fell. Bolt sprayed far him both of him instantly, but Addison didn't X-top key. She charged at the 30 EU AI Ven at fun expit, but did as she closed the lid stand. AI Ven's weapon suddenly appeared Biffo H Fei. Since own, Addison desperately shifted Farum, locking the strike of Ert, but AI Ven's strength away 2 over 1. Upon ticking the impact, Addison immediately spat a mouth H bohi away, sent flying duve really thin at Chia Trake with to tuner pathetic Addison. Duara some that PX you should know beat you no matter how much do struggle. Da Nevu be able to defil me. Oching do tries key at budget is you it ends. Luan en. Oching Farum, the Shaho, wasn't Vikrai on the Egilsat. He felt Addison shouldn't have participated in JIT. However, lucking BSC as a strategy used Gzo and True Helm. Using the environment to cricked openings, and distract the appalled by Yacht Zoop, the site Zoan incredible tactical Ginnit. But in the fey of absolute Peo, even the bet strategy is useless. I'm certain of it no. The exam is if. The voice you selected does nonsense word here and you long assume the Addison the to right corner and jeb like what we withdraw Zun. Luanan slowly stood up to LIP, but a second later, the salva blot whistling through the E stopped him. Addison Owe launching Anno Akka. Even AI Vena, Owe, shocked by Ode do doing no? Do really own to Njit Oe doer so badly for courts? Ivan, the exam isn't ev yet. And neither am I, Addison suddenly leapt behind him. I'm not the only guy up. Get as the oct left a she lunged at AI Van a precise decisive strike. But AI Van X dramatic guide blow however across AI Van farm the blot appeared. AI Van's expression instantly turned twisted and I gave do it to but do chose the hat he slashed nor Addishing without muxy. Addison took the hit of Rith and she had do me lse lay an idiot in fan hired I was we asked on you. To MC Chi do at deed stupidly. If new even hire it about yo background and ability you and not talented late yacht freshman. So oe do keep struggling, shouldn't do no BTU than anyone. Yacht, everyone thinks doer ls do exactly a do hin when at AI Vance Kuchen. Addison's main drifted BSC to his che vict of the coup, his vilt. A left Ernie a man hat held him, weeping uncontrollable un yacht ma. He seemed to feign the pat you at Okfov. Addison spoke in a lay, firm voice, it's bicked. IMT become the Gert Kamenka, no matter the CCT. Apt to hearing Ivan get looked at him, pew the Gert Kamenka? Outside of nonsenses yet Luthen do can get bicked of some no own can achieve jeet foamy, as soon as he finished Luana Oe stunned by his answer. But I believe in my Hatini, none of do would ever understand. Got LST yo ta do han even know yo plexa, I'm sick of hearing yo garbage. Ivan swung on feign, lethal blah at X. Suddenly a voice rang Ivan's weapon snapped into instantly. Luana no stood rate in fern of Addison. I hunt on to arg but elansenjit hea. Ivan Oe left completely dazed. Befo he CCT even profi Oe struck by Lauren's BLGT curit, NB2, Ivan CCT. Addison looked at Lauren in confusion, blurting his N. Luanem adu alright? Yeah thanks foes vin me. Luanen, Oe do hea? Ellen's XKYP the XEMT talk can you give me a mom? Yes. Samantha and I always you do own to be the carrots him cause do own to know my reasons? Oe do asking so said Luonan, nodded firmly. It's very important to me, so please, tell me. Seeing Luonan's serious expression, Addison fell silent foe. Amon lowered his hat sadly. Dude you know about the Nate of this yard talking about the werewolf in Vision, 10 years age? In, yak coup between the Impeo and the werewolves. The Impeo wanted to expand Ent. And the werewolves wanted to top Oa on Yao there innate yat I lest my familia Oa during Hinu time. My mother and brow received orders to the fern lay, yet, Oa the lot taimu, I choy so excite en jante. They left before we see et even finish a few walk. They didn't even got to finish ki Hinu, ap to yacht. Farmote I know, based on the Canninghas strategy at the taimu, the Vilt soldiers, sent directly to Gathaji. They east eventually torn apart by the powerful in Oa basically a jank sentence. Ki Oe absolutely no strategy ignoring the massive gap in strength. Yet lack of a plan led to a Tatan tragedy. Luan and Dushan Nojit. NYT Lon Aptu. The Impeo and werewolves negotiated. The Impeo ultimately ceded land to the werewolves. And the werewolves integrated. The mighty army Oe already destroyed. My family had already been signed. We DGT in written. Oe use even though they used to called Hira of the Impeo. I get con accepted. Own ILSE act disabled OEG front hath to Kai. I threw an overwhelming surge of anger. None of him had to Kai. If the Impeo had negotiated faux pit faram the Ifni they had used the terrain to gain a strategic advantage. Ifni Ki had been a capable Gert Kamenka, Addison's voice began to check up. I can't stand jit reality. I'm going to become the Gert Kamenka. Luonan, yat ue ki un be no ma senslich un via ppnch Kamenka. So yet no one else ever you tombstones faux pip who should X to be alive. After hearing Addison's passionate Luan and Git looked at him in silence. The atmosphere became key awkward. Addison felt flustered. I'm X-ry foe bringing up those Batmamari, but it's MT me realized the manthan. Luanan didn't answer, falling into Gip thought instead. It seems yes no ue doer guy but yat means I can no longer be a bystander. Oching Du got killed. I can't be yacht pain any longer. As the two stood key in a daze, a chilly breeze swept through the nearby foray. Looking BSE, a massive X-Dom hat appeared. It seems Hayes arrived. Taimu was running you, so Il got straight to the point. Do you know about Sawu magic? Oats yacht, the requirements to awaken it are strict, but Owen do MIT him. Dull grow extrang fat. I met ZMON who reminded me of do. I think you can use it too. Il chip do awaken it later, alright. Oe do saying jit so suddenly Biffo Artisan CTT finish. Ronan grabbed his show. Erde smile, he's ate, worry. Il expup do on the UE. The voice you selected does not the voice you selected does not please arzation of a right spawns of Ronan Hather Raimus Warner to switch overwhelmed words emotion. He Ronan, a do serious? But a second later, Ronan shoved Ardition rate PP the clip. Ardition Oe completely silence and it he had 2A, Third plaxa isn't badaden. LCM Zai du as zan at iso his voy even feet. Ronan watched as Ardation Oa teleported out. He breathed a sigh of relief. So, is it get us no? Get then, a kulking figure approached. It Oa Salazan. Ronan looked at him provocatively. Dur abrioen aren't LC lay duve cleared ao the rart of the competition. Du nia then the li ones left on jit ManhWa oct. Elens duji, as the oct leth evolve achiru key swords. Give it everything duve telent hisai, who the reen teenage he is. Key silhouettes clashed lay a bolt of Leighton. The AKME's ultimate showdown hath the voice you selected does Rones Hawart the slang Ardeshan PP please let no telerided hueses which Ardeshan lay quietly in the Akami Dizon jolted awake far his unconscious at seeing his bogey away unharmed. He realized had been teleported BSE app to buy a limit. He remembered Ronan Zate Oe pushing him. Duve already secured third plaque is Yat Oa true. The feigned backcon MTB between Duves Thurnoth Thrau Oa gathered around a massive X-scrin, oching the broadcast of Ronan's duel. A powerful surge of Zout Ongi held BSE the massive X-tom.